Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host Scott, alongside my co-host Holly.
Hello.
And today, Holly, it's the first time we're picking one of your shows.
It is.
Okay, so what show did you pick?
I picked No Mercy from 2016.
Okay, before we go into the details of the show itself,
Yes.
why did you pick that card specifically?
The main reason, it being one of the specific matches that was in here.
Care to divulge a little bit without going into too much detail?
Nikki Bella features on this match card.
Okay, so what is it about Nikki Bella that compels you so?
She's just great. Okay. She's my biggest girl crush ever.
Okay.
Is one thing. She's just ridiculous. Also, I don't think she's a bad wrestler. On her own.
Right. Okay.
On her own. In this in this time frame.
Okay,
great.
she definitely got better, yeah, for sure.
I feel like this was her peak, shall we say.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not pre-neck injury, but...
Yeah, fair.
But I just really like her. I think she's great.
I don't think there's an issue for that. The girl crush thing, I get.
Yeah.
She's not an ugly woman.
Nope.
But,
I would.
like I said, well, I mean...
Not that way inclined, but
I'll
I still
be honest,
would.
wouldn't kick her out of bed, put it that way. But there's something about her personality that I feel like would grate on me after a while. But again, like I mentioned to you earlier, I'm pretty sure she'd have a few complaints about my fair self. So, sorry, Nikki. But yeah, so Nikki Bella was the reason why. I'll be honest, so when you told me that this was the card we were going to be covering, I didn't have a look through the match card.
No.
But as I was making my notes, I was like, oh, Holly likes this person in this match. Oh,
right.
Holly likes this person in this match. Was that a happy coincidence?
So I remember this match, the match that Nikki Bella's in, right?
Yeah.
I remember it. So I Googled, I did many a Google to try and find out where it originated from.
Okay.
And I was like, because I know it was her and Carmella.
Yeah.
And there was 2 matches between them both, which
in
I
this
remembered.
period? Okay.
One was this one, and one was I'm just going to call it a hardcore match. That's not what they called it. Like a street fight or something.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I can't remember which one I preferred. I watched the street fight and I was like, it was definitely this one.
Okay.
So I just went with this one. Didn't Google anything else on the match card.
So it was all coincidental, the rest of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I first started watching it and the intro began, I was a very happy lady.
I bet you were. I do quite... The intros are interesting as well, because this is a show that... I mean, like I said, even though I'm lapsed in the fact that I don't watch weekly, I'll watch highlights every now and then, I will tend to watch the big shows. So this is one that I definitely would have seen at the time.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you anything about it because it's not in my era, as it were.
Okay, so I remember watching this. Once I started watching it properly, I went, I do remember seeing this, but I didn't remember any of the outcomes.
I was going to say, because this was before you'd come back to work,
Yeah.
so we still weren't working together. So I thought you kind of only started really actively getting back into it when you came back, but it started a little bit before.
Yeah, it did. I remember. Let's drag an ex into this. I remember being with a certain ex and him mentioning something about wrestling, and me being like, "Oh my god, can I reveal?
Is this the window?
The nerd side of me that likes it?" And I did. And then every Sunday we would just watch the highlights of the week and all that sort of stuff. We went and watched SmackDown Live, all of that, and I thought, I think I'm allowed to get a little bit back into it now.
That's nice.
And this is when this came.
Okay, fine. So this was in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So right, a little bit of background about the show itself, as I try and do a little bit of research.
I'm glad you did, because I did not.
Well, it's kind of what I'm bringing to the table. I'm not bringing much else after your absolutely screaming comments from the last show, clips of which can be found on YouTube. So the venue for No Mercy 2016 was the Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. It took place on the 9th of October 2016. I have an issue with the name of the arena, the Golden One Centre. It makes me think of a packet of crisps from the UK. That's the first thing that goes through my mind. But I don't like the name of a lot of the buildings that they're doing these days because it's all branding. So you've got the Dunkin' Donuts Centre or the Yum Yum Villa.
Arena and all that sort of stuff.
You don't get that too much over here. You do, I guess, for certain areas, but you don't get the Greg's
Oh,
Greg's
that'd be
Arena.
great, though.
Would,
And they only sell Greg's sausage rolls.
Imagine that. That'd be great. Like a little progress show set up. You go there, front row, got just a sausage, bean and cheese melt on the go.
Oh, yes, you're speaking my language.
Right, this has to happen. Anyone who's listening who works at Progress, get links with Greg's, because we would like it. Okay, so the attendance of the night was 14,324. Now, where I looked up the information for ECW One Night Stand 2006 with regards to the buy rate, it's a little bit more difficult for this, only because that wasn't it's in the premium live event era. Having said that, they mentioned it as being a pay-per-view on the night, so they were still doing pay-per-views for it, but the way that WWE are getting their money from this kind of stuff is from the subscriptions on the network. So that information wasn't readily available, and I didn't look into it enough, to be honest, to try and track it down, because I didn't think it was pertinent. But few key feuds going into this. John Cena looking to equal Ric Flair's record of being 16-time champion. Ziggler putting his career on the line against The Miz for the IC title. And Randy Orton continuing his long-standing feud with Bray Wyatt, which I don't think would culminate until Mania of the following year. But as we go into the show, first match of the night, which I have strong opinions about for its placement as much as anything. AJ Styles defending the WWE title against Dean Ambrose and John Cena. Okay. My first thought is, why the fuck are you starting a show with the main event?
Well, here's my little input here.
Okay.
I didn't hate it.
What, being first?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, when I got to the end of the show and I'd watched every other match, I just went, yeah, I'm okay with this. I feel like it was, for me, it was fine. I was happy. I'd got myself a nice cold Prosecco at this point, curled up in the sofa.
Brilliant.
I was a happy girl.
So, the match itself, we'll cover that obviously in a second. It was good. But I cannot stand, unless there's a very valid reason, a title match of that magnitude, or for that title, I should say. If it was like an Intercontinental title, US title, tag title, whatever, fine. But you don't start a show with your big hitter.
I can understand why it would annoy you, but I was fine with it.
So, the match itself, right, so my first comment here is, first thing, should never start a pay-per-view with a world title match. Absolutely hate it.
Okay.
I think the first time it really bothered me was after, I think it was 2011, Alberto Del Rio won the Royal Rumble, went on to face Edge at Mania in what was Edge's last match for the world title, and it was first match of the night at WrestleMania, and I thought, that's taken everything away from it for me, regardless of the outcome and what have you.
I've seen that, so I don't
Well,
I'm sure I will at some point.
You'll definitely be seeing that, don't you worry. John Cena sucks chance in full force, right off the bat.
Well, this is the first one I think we'll disagree with in the first. My first point says, great kickoff match. I know, sorry.
It's not just the quality of the match.
No,
Again, let me
and then Cena booed again. Are we ever going to watch a match that John Cena is in where he is not booed?
I mean, if we watch matches before 2005, then yeah.
Is that when he's the master of
Thugonomics? And again, it's Doctor. You want him to be the master of Thugonomics, the master of baiting. Yeah, that's stuck in your head. That's going to be the thing. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely matches where he's cheered. I notice he gets it a little bit more now that he's spending time away and coming back more sporadically.
And when he comes to, the UK and goes, let's give you a WrestleMania,
which we fully deserve. I think
nothing.
We should get a WrestleMania in London, and I think like certain podcasts should be able to go absolutely free of charge. Get a nice little close
little box,
I'll take a box.
I'll take
a front row seat. I'll be the guy that collects all the women's clothing that has to get put to one side.
I don't mind oiling. I don't mind oiling up the men before they come out.
I don't mind oiling up the men. I'm an equal opportunist. Is what.
I'll oil up the women as well if you like. I'm down.
That's going to make a clip. Tell you that for free. That'll be on YouTube before the week's out. So as they're making their way to the ring, I put Dean Ambrose looking like the 40-year-old your teenage daughter brings home.
Ooh, that is very good.
He does it, doesn't he?
I think I forgot how brilliant he was in this. The character for me suited him perfectly.
Yeah, I much prefer the John Moxley version of him, because this version, he's supposed to be like the lunatic fringe they were calling him. I don't like the way that that's being forced. It should have been a natural thing, which is kind of what he's allowed to do under John Moxley, whereas here it doesn't work.
Okay.
I feel like they're trying to make him a little, not quite, because that's not a fair comparison, but halfway between like a Brian Pillman and a Mick Foley, and it's just not quite landing for me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's done much better, obviously, since he's left the WWE. Sure. But yeah, he's just got that kind of...
liked him. I thought he was an edge. And also, who wrestles in jeans?
Well, Elias.
Yeah, but it works for these people.
Jean shorts?
No, with the jorts. Ugh.
Lovely.
Anyway, moving on. The fact that he's just wearing a vest and jeans.
Do you reckon they've got a lot of give?
Great.
Because, I mean...
they're definitely like jeggings, for sure.
I was going to say, because if I'm wearing jeans and I'm trying to kick someone's face, if I lift my leg a certain height, my other leg's leaving the floor with it.
Yeah, they've got to have a bit of elasticity.
That's, word of the day so far, for sure.
You.
I also said here, with regards to the commentary team, so we've got Mauro Ranallo, so you probably won't be too familiar with his work. He wasn't in WWE for too long. But effectively, so he came from, in terms of doing the commentary background, it was more of a mixed martial arts thing back in the day. He used to do Pride, which was the big Japanese mixed martial arts organisation that UFC eventually bought. Very distinctive voice. He did wrestling shows as well. I think he worked for New Japan briefly to do some of their UK commentary, and then WWE swept him up. He left for personal reasons. I think it was like mental health was called upon. But his voice is so good, and I find he puts the right emphasis on the right parts of matches, much like JR would do. So not saying his voice is the same, but JR would only get excited when he knew the fans would be getting excited. It wasn't forced, and I think that was a really nice touch. And then we've got JBL and Otunga, who are absolute shite.
Yep, I put, brilliant. JBL's on commentary. I already missed Corey Graves.
I will say, of course you do. Who also wrestled in jeans, actually, in NXT. It was kind of like stonewashed denim.
Not seen this, so I'm really hoping we see this.
Yeah, I'll find a show that he's on for sure. But Otunga's just monotonous,
right?
And I can't get involved in him as a wrestler, as a commentator. I just don't want to see him, especially with his like little bitch dicky bow that he used to wear with his cardigan.
I know there was a point in the commentary at some point when they said to him about his like wrestling and how something, and I was like, who's this guy? Who is he? And then
Mrs.
I was like,
Jennifer Hudson.
Oh, that's who he is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Former Mr. Jennifer Hudson, because I don't think they're together now.
But then I was like, you know what? I don't need to fall down that rabbit hole. I've got better things to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, he offers nothing. And as much as I dislike JBL, as I might have made that clear in the last episode, a lot of what he did on commentary didn't faze me. Yeah. So I don't know whether that's because I tuned him out completely, or what he said wasn't that egregious that it registered for me. So
yeah, I can't remember. I'll be honest, there may be something later on, I'm not sure, but I can't remember hearing anything that made me go, be quiet.
Yeah.
But also I tend to tune out a lot of commentary.
Which is probably why you don't mind Michael Cole too much.
Yeah.
He's okay, he's fine.
No problem.
I'm not slating him as much as others would. But it makes me. I'm looking forward to you kind of getting a different perspective through the journeys of these shows, and hopefully you'll go. Actually, so I thought Michael Cole was good, and that's fine. But then there's another level above. Okay. Might not happen. That might be wishful thinking on my part. I might
have to start listening to the commentary. That's the problem.
Oh well, as long as you've got Freddo's to hand, you'll be fine. What do you think of the pink middle rope aesthetic for the Susan G. Komen Cancer Trust? It was quite a good aesthetic, I thought.
Just adds a bit of something.
Yeah, it's a nice message, and it's a different visual.
It's not a shove it in your face either. It's just here it is, and I think it also worked with a lot of the gear that people had as well. You notice it more. And
I think anything that changes the aesthetics, I mentioned it in the One Night Stand show. It had a different aesthetic, so it kind of feels fresh just from looking at it right away. And I know they were doing this on SmackDown. I don't know if Raw were doing it as well, so they had it in the build-up for the entire month. But because obviously we're not watching the build-up, we're just watching the show itself, it felt quite fresh. But a nice touch. That's why I liked not the new version of NXT that they've got, because it's kind of just a smaller version of the current WWE. The black and gold.
Oh yeah, I really liked that. Was really good.
Exactly, it distinguished it as being different.
And you couldn't see all the fake tan on the mat either.
Yes.
I think everyone should wrestle on a black mat.
I think I really like a black mat aesthetic.
Because it looks dirty. Even when we went and watched
Progress,
all you can see on there is oil, sweat, fake tan,
smell of deep
blood. It's gross. Put a black mat down. Can't see that.
Yeah, Progress had that covered. AEW did not.
Yeah.
But then again, we were so far back at AEW. But
it's like 10 beers deep by that point. So
10 beers deep, yeah. Yeah, throwing one on yourself as well for good measure, doing the Stone Cold.
Absolutely.
We'll cover that. When we do the AEW, we'll go into detail. Same with the Progress about the beer incident. So I said Dean Ambrose doing his crazy faces, they're not good.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he should have armbands when he has soup. Like, it feels forced, like when he's doing the tongue out the mouth and then pretending to hit himself. It doesn't make him look... It doesn't make him look dangerous other than to himself, to me.
True.
And that's why I prefer the John Moxley thing, because he kind of does a little bit of muttering to himself and shaking his head and stuff, but he's not like... Well, I guess I have actually seen him do his tongue out thing, but maybe it's just because I'm more accustomed to him in his current format. But either way, I didn't particularly like it. Not in this as well, because he seems... It sounds bad, because it's... Again, I'm not about the physiques of the wrestlers, but he looked noticeably small. He's bigger now.
Yeah.
But it... Like,
he was a bit more trim back then.
He wasn't it? It was like a leaner...
Bit leaner.
Yeah, I think that's probably the word for it. I guess it doesn't help as well when you're standing next to the human brick that is John Cena. It's kind of put most people into perspective.
Yeah.
So I said it was a good quick start with all the attempted finishers that were going back and forth.
I'll be honest, I was a bit... When it first started, I did go, oh no, because they stood around as a free and like just started shouting, pointing, and I was like, oh, just someone hurry up and do something. I was concerned that this was going to be the whole match.
Really? Okay.
And then I was gladly proven wrong.
I thought the match itself, if I'm being honest, was great. It was a
brilliant.
really, really
I
good match.
really enjoyed it.
And that just, to me, cemented it more of why it should have been in the main event spot, because of obviously the title, the quality of the match itself was really good. It was, I think from recollection, it was match of the night for me by some distance as well. It wasn't even close. I know you'll have a different theory later on, which is absolutely fine. It is your show after all, but I think the three of them worked really well together.
Yes.
Because what tends to happen in triple threat matches in general is someone will get thrown out of the ring and stay on the outside for 10 minutes. Yeah. Two people do a match. That person will come in and knock someone out. So it's basically a swing out singles match that never quite
but there was a lot of actually three...
All three of them doing stuff.
I was going to say 3 on 3 then. That is 6. There was a lot of all of them together. I know, quick maths. Together in this match, which I actually enjoyed. And obviously there were interludes of...
Yeah, but it makes sense. But a lot of the stuff that they did together as a three worked.
It did.
There are a few minor errors, which I think
I guarantee you I won't have picked up on those, I don't think.
It wasn't too bad, but I said there was a botch from Ambrose and Styles on a commentary table face smash, so... I think Ambrose went to put Styles' head in, and Styles either wasn't going quite enough with it, or and so I feel like he threw his own head into the table, and I was just like, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
And it's one you can see as well, like
But I think like Cena. So one of the early moments that I wrote down was Cena catching Ambrose is what we like to see with Cena, showing a power move. Ambrose goes to jump on him on the outside. Cena catches him, 100%. Runs him into the post. Good scene.
That was very good, and also then that gave the chance of, right, he's down for a little bit, but he's legit down for a little bit, so then they can do their stuff.
Exactly. AJ looking graceful as ever when he's taking flight. There weren't many missteps from his front, and he's not a slight guy either.
No.
Like we were talking about Super Crazy at the last show. Obviously AJ Styles doesn't have the same build as him. He's taller, but he's well built. But the way he moves,
he's so nimble.
That's the word for it. It's very athletic.
Because you wouldn't look at him and go, "Oh, he's a high flyer."
No, you wouldn't
at all. And then actually, I was like, "Oh, this is why I like his matches."
Given his size, I think if you didn't know what he did, but you were aware of the different type of wrestlers that are out there, you'd assume technical.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
Or some sort of striker. You wouldn't think that.
He's going to do whatever flips they're called.
There are particular moves that he does that I really like. I'm not a big fan of the flying forearm finish or the phenomenal forearm.
I like it when he goes over to the outside doing that. I think that's very clever.
Yeah, because he likes...
But not to the inside.
Yeah, he does.
Like it's more impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
To show the body control. Like there's one, I can't remember, he does it to the outside, and then they did like a slow-mo recap, and you can see mid-air... He changes his body composition. I'm like, that's just clever. Yeah. Like, it's so clever, but you don't get that from when he jumps from the apron into the ring.
No, and that's what I was going to say with him. He kind of gets very horizontal with it for the forearm. So, remember Kairi Sane when she was in, and she would do that elbow drop. Yes. It was almost like she was coming down with the point of her elbow being the lowest point of contact. Styles is very good at turning it horizontal to hit that forearm. So, it's just, I don't particularly care. I don't mind it as a move. I just don't like it as a finish.
Yeah.
But... Fair enough, because I guess it's because he can do the springboard 450.
Yeah.
The issue with that, though, is that he can sometimes, and more so in his later years, can over-rotate it a little bit, and I get worried for him. Because obviously
he's... face plant.
just because he's in his 40s now, and I'm not saying like he's done, but it's one thing like that could end it all, and
true.
that kind of gets me a little bit worried. So as well as AJ looking graceful in general, as we were talking about the moves where all three were involved, and we saw it in the highlight reel, so just to refresh our memory, because we're a little secret, we're doing back-to-back recordings today. We saw the highlight video of this show after we've obviously made all our notes, and I made a note on it, but I remembered it obviously from the highlight. It was the triple German suplex.
Oh, yeah.
Now, seeing as none of them are really known for hitting German suplexes, that could have been a mess. But it was alright.
Yeah.
Thought it looked pretty good, quite tight. I also put here though, and it wasn't a botch as such, but it's again falls into that criticism I had of Cena before, where he tries stuff that's outside of his wheelhouse.
Oh, okay.
So he tried to do a TKO on, I think it was at AJ Styles for sure, because I remember how he sold it. Basically, I think it's the same as Nikki Bella's finisher, the
Rack Attack,
where she kind of spins them out, and then, so that's called a TKO.
Okay.
Cena went to hit one on AJ Styles, but almost reverse DDT'd himself in the process.
Oh.
And again, I appreciate you trying.
Yeah.
But unless you know you can hit it, don't. Because he hit a code red later, which you won't, again, know that terminology, but the flip powerbomb, so where he hooks his legs round and flips them over in a sunset flip, but it turns into a powerbomb. That actually looked very nice, but because it's Cena doing it, it doesn't feel right.
Okay.
It's again one of those things where it just doesn't look, even though it was done perfectly well, and I don't have any criticism of the execution of it, it just doesn't seem right with, like I said, someone of his composition and his skill set doing a move like that. I put here Styles showing Punk how to correctly flip out of the attitude adjustment. He didn't kaplunk his ass on the floor. He almost over-rotated,
he really
actually.
Did, but it looked good.
Because the way he recovered from it, I'm sure he was going to hit the Pele kick afterwards, but how he kind of leant on his hands to then push back off to flip.
That was very
nice. Clever.
Very nice.
It could have gone, it almost verged on a botch, but he absolutely recovered it and made it look very good. I've got another comment here of just how very good it all flowed, and the three worked well together. I don't think they might have had it on the house show circuit, the non-televised events, but I don't think I've seen them have a triple threat before or after that.
No.
You'd think, given how relatively good I thought that match was, they might have revisited it at some point. Maybe they did. I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but
I don't think they did from recollection.
It just surprised me.
There was a little touch in the match where, so AJ and Dean, I think, had like kind of knocked themselves out. They'd hit a double move. Both were lying down, and the way they landed, Dean Ambrose's head was resting on AJ Styles' chest, and the ref started to count to 3.
Yep.
And I thought, that's good.
Yep.
I like that. It's a touch, because if you're calling it as it should be that is what you should be doing.
For sure.
AJ Styles got up, so it wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
But
I did think that was good, actually. I did notice that, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
What do you think of Cena's 10 knuckle shuffle?
Right. I put in here, cameraman did him dirty.
Okay.
Because we know what he does.
Yeah.
Right. And it is just for the crowd. It's not, we know it doesn't do anything, and it's just what he does. But the way the position of the camera this time, you can clearly see he's about a foot away from anyone. And I literally just put, cameraman did him dirty there. Do it from behind. Do it from do it from any angle that's not at the side.
Yeah.
So in front, behind, fine.
You have to do it in front.
But can't be doing it from like that angle, because it just looks stupid.
I don't like the way he goes down on his knees for it either, because it reminds me of a kid wrestling with pillows. Like, so just the way, because he kind of throws his legs out like a weird angle, like a V, and it just looks very childish and doesn't. I mean, I don't like the move itself in general, so that's kind of a little bit of a tainted opinion, I guess. But yeah, I don't like it. But you're right, he was done a little bit dirty by the camera work.
Yeah.
So the suplex on the apron by Styles on Cena. Did you tense up for that?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
So my comment on it in general was that, because then it followed by the springboard 450.
Yes.
I said it was tight. I think it was a good combination. Cena didn't land badly on it, but because it's, again, Cena.
I know.
If he'd done that to like Ricochet or someone like that, I don't think I would have thought twice about it, because Cena went up. There was a moment I thought, oh god.
Yes, agreed.
So, but you weren't a fan of. You're not a fan of that in general, though. To be fair,
absolutely not.
What do you think of Dean's missile dive? Or Tope Suicida.
Stop doing it. Stop
it. Well,
stop, because
that's
also,
exactly the reason.
He did nothing. All he did was propel himself out the ring.
He didn't really reach him.
Styles literally holds his hand
and then throws himself
out the way, and it's just like, if I'm there, do you know what I'm doing? Nothing. I'm going to let you do that to me. You're not going to reach me. I'm going to stand and look at you, and
you're
be
paralysed.
Like, you're stupid.
It's so for me. One of the things that I always liked, and the only person I've ever seen do it, is Samoa Joe, and you'll have seen it as well because we saw it at the AEW show live.
Okay.
Is where someone will go to jump at him, and he'll just walk out the way, shaking his head like, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
Because
that's a natural reaction.
You wouldn't.
I'm not just going to stand and look at you and go, "Oh my god."
I'm not saying everyone should do that,
no.
But occasionally doing that, but
just
it's
move
brilliant.
out the way.
It's just little brilliant touches like that I really like.
Yeah.
I've got the chin support submission on Styles from John Cena.
I have this too.
Okay.
My comment is this: when you can't see Styles' face because his soccer mum hair is all in front of his face. But I looked at it and I thought, actually I could do a little back stretch like that.
Brilliant.
Because it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything.
Well, before the next recording, I could try and... probably can't execute it.
My back needs a good crack, and I feel like that would work. But I just... I don't know. And I don't want to just bash Cena. I actually like him.
Yeah.
But...
It's just not good.
It just doesn't do anything.
I like the STF as a finisher in general, or as a submission hold in general, but I hate Cena's execution because there looks like there's no jeopardy in it.
No.
And it just takes me out of the moment.
No.
So I think it looks stupid, especially when someone submits from it. You're like, how...
But especially because he's so big.
I think it should look
and
horrendous.
I think that should be obviously behind the curtain. We all know, but I just feel like at least make it look a bit more.
Well, that's all we're asking
something.
For. We don't need it to be real. We need it to look
you're literally,
as real as it
someone's
can be.
lying on the floor. Someone's sat behind you. They've literally just clasped their hands in front of your face.
Well, they're not even. He's not even clasping his hands.
No,
he's crossing his wrist with his fist clench.
It just
to me, you need to do that meat hook grip and pull back.
And actually, but like. Show that you're leaning back.
Exactly.
Something. Just give me something.
He looks like he's in as much pain as the person he's
putting it on.
He's going, ah!
We know how I feel about Cena's.
He's overselling his own moves, let alone other people's.
Irritating.
So I put the Tope Suicida shows exactly why Holly hates the move. I said the dual submission moment. I said looked like either a shit game of Twister or a great orgy.
Mine says looks like a drunk Saturday night.
Brilliant. Is this going back to the slut era
Just to clarify, that's never happened. But
you've never had sex with Dean Ambrose, John Cena and AJ Styles? That's breaking news.
God, I don't know what to do with myself. But no. It just, it made me smile, and I just thought, I wonder what you're going to say for that, which didn't disappoint.
No, well, I aim to please. I've got to put the occasional comment in there, haven't I? And then Styles with the chair shots to pin Cena, retain the title, and end a very good match. I didn't care for it being a chair shot finish. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because there's no disqualification, because when there's triple threat, that's just how it is. Really enjoyed the match. One of the better matches I think we've actually seen so far in this. Yeah. No complaints other than its placement on the card.
Okay. Yeah, I just put... So, before it finished, Styles tapped out, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I didn't remember any of this, and I went, oh, okay. And I was like, this is good, because obviously you can't have one person tap out to two. And I thought, hey?
Co-holders of the
title. Right, I thought you were telling me an instance where this happened. I was like,
it has happened.
Has it?
But it was a pin.
Oh, okay.
It was like, I think I have the show, actually. I want to say it was Breakdown 1998. Again, a VHS that I had back in the day, well loved. And it was Stone Cold in a triple threat against Kane and The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Basically, Vince McMahon wanted the title off Stone Cold, set The Undertaker and Kane on him. They battered him in the match. Stone Cold did his best, but they both, I think it was a double choke slam on him. One hooked one leg, one hooked the other, 3 count. Then Vince McMahon nicked the title, ran off with it. But technically, Kane and Undertaker were
both won.
Co-champions. Okay. Yeah. So again, maybe a show to cover at some point in the future. But
lovely.
So I don't know if I've seen it from a submission though.
Yeah, but I thought it was good. I thought, how's this going to end? And then they were like, no, carry on. I thought, lovely. And then the chair shot. I put, a little bit annoying, but I'm not mad about it. No, I was happy with him still retaining because actually I thought he's very good. Yeah,
Cena jumped before the chair even started getting.
Of course he did, and then literally bent down for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, also, that's not a natural reaction.
No.
I can see you're holding a chair over my head. Let me just stay here until you hit me.
Let me present my back perfectly for you.
Honestly.
Yeah. But no, really good match. I don't want to take anything away from that. I think it was good.
I really enjoyed it, actually.
So we move on now to a Bray Wyatt Randy Orton promo. I just put Bray such a massive loss to the world of wrestling. Like every time I see him, I just go, how good you were and could have been.
Yeah, I know.
And it's just him saying just, I'm a god and gods cannot die. And I went, oof.
Yes, I literally wrote that down. I went, my God, so damn sad. Possibly the best storyteller I've ever seen while I've been watching wrestling.
Yeah, I think he'd be up there for sure. I think he was almost in the wrong era because, like, back in the, I don't know, I started doing a Porky Pig impression there, but back in like the 80s and early 90s where characters were such a massive thing, he would have done phenomenally.
Oh, for sure.
Not that he didn't do well in the time that he had, but yeah, when he said, and gods cannot die.
Yeah, that really was... Oof. Yeah, gave
tough.
me like goosebumps when I was watching it because I'd not forgotten because obviously you saw the preview at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I forgot he was in this. How am I going to feel about it?
Because it's the first time we've obviously covered one of his matches, and
I didn't know how I would feel about it.
Obviously, we'll get into that later on. And now we move into
the treat for the evening.
Emma Holly's treat for the evening. So we've got Nikki Bella against Carmella. So do you want to take the lead on this one?
We're going to glaze over the fact you just called me your wife's name, are we?
It could be worse. Maybe I've used your name in other situations. We won't worry about that. So I'm sure there's like some sort of balancing act to be done there.
Good. I'm happy with it. It's fine.
You're happy with it?
I'm happy with it. I take it. It's a compliment.
Bet you would. Right. So Nikki Bella, Carmella going to the match.
I really enjoyed this. And I think it was, for me, obviously I love Nikki Bella, really like Carmella as well, but I think putting the two of them together was a perfect way to bring Carmella up. Yeah. I think Nikki Bella was the perfect person to have her feud with, to bring her, like, upwards, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Because she just departed from Enzo and Big Cass and was effectively standing on her own. And I thought, actually, this was a good feud for her to have, to get her name a bit more out there.
I think that's a very good way of putting it, to be fair, with Carmella, because I agree, I've not enjoyed Carmella's stuff since this era.
Okay.
I like the look, it was different.
Oh, the look was spot on.
The moonwalk, her in-ring stuff is very good, but I think the whole package that she brought to the table, this was it for me.
I think we've also said before, like, when we've watched later shows that she's in, they need to bring her back to
100%
to this.
For sure, because
no one else is doing that either.
No, and I feel like she made herself more generic in the process of doing it, which I was like, you've lost. And to be fair, probably wasn't her decision, let's be perfectly honest.
No.
But she had that look that was different from the rest of the pack, much like how Liv Morgan has a look that's different. And I worried that they were going to do the exact same thing with her when she was
generic,
doing the lesbian scene with Lana and stuff, which was just a mess. But she's kind of gone back to it a little bit now, keeping that kind of makeup, whereas Carmella completely changed.
They just made her into like a princess.
A generic, basically.
Like a diva. They made her into an old school diva. That was exactly what I was
about to say. They turned her into a diva, and that was a real shame. So, the match itself, I think, was good, not great.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why it was hampered a little bit was the crowd.
Yes.
I thought the crowd were unfair to it. I think they were still in the mindset of...
I think because you'd had such a peak as well. You'd had that big match before. Anything that followed this, I think, was going to be a downplay from the crowd. Like if you're watching that live as well, having been somewhere live,
that would have been where
this is when not me, but you might have gone, oh, I'm going to go get a drink now.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of people did, and I get it, but still I was just like, oh, it's a decent women's match. It is,
and which makes me think, especially because there's another women's match later in the show, why didn't they put that one here?
That one would have been far better placed.
Yeah.
Because...
that was a better come-down
for sure.
Because there was no story going into that, really.
No,
but anyway, we're jumping ahead the gun on that one.
Yeah.
But, so my first comment on this is, goddamn Nikki Bella, a fine specimen. I fully understand Holly's girl crush.
Absolutely. And could her shorts be any smaller for this one?
I don't know, but I'll be willing to find out.
Tiny little denim shorts. Ridiculous.
And it sounds really weird because of all the things she's got going on there. One of the things that I kind of end up not ogling but admiring is her hair. I really like the wave to it. It's got like the blonde. It's nice. It's different, but no, absolutely.
I said there was a lot of hair in this match.
A lot of hair.
A lot of extensions flying around left, right, and centre here.
And touching on the point we just made, my second comment is that is what Carmella's look should have stayed as. It was unique, excellent.
Yeah, it was.
Just the whole thing, just even the moonwalk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, her work with James Ellsworth later, didn't care for it, but it was still kept the same kind of vibe. And I put here, a hair pull was always a sign of a shit women's match by limited workers, and unfortunately that is one of the first things that I saw in this match, and I was going, is this what we're in store for?
I did put it as well, no wonder they've all got extensions in. I would if someone's going to be pulling my hair that much.
Yep.
Which I understand, but the only one I didn't mind was where Carmella does it to Nikki Bella around the corner ring post. I thought that's okay because it's a little bit different, like it's effectively like a backstretch.
I thought that was good, actually.
But that's it. We don't need any more hair grabbing, pulling, moving around.
The stretch actually around the ring post I thought was good, made sense. Like, well, I've got your head here, I've got your leg here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Your leg's fucked. Yeah, let's do that.
I thought that was a really good touch. I said there was a bit where she hit her back on the LED screen, and again, because I'm just thinking of her neck, I tense up a little bit for her. But it started after the shaky start with the hair pull. I started to get into it, but there was a bit where I think Carmella has like a chin lock or something like that on Nikki Bella, and she's screaming, "Nobody cares about you, Nikki." And I put, listening to the crowd doesn't sound like they care about either of you, if I'm being honest. It's a shame. Like I said, it was because I've got a few, because we've come from shows where we've seen really lively crowds. They were fine. I didn't notice them in the first match because it was a very good match with high stakes, I guess. But for the matches that were anything less than good, they sat on their hands. And I guess it isn't on the onus of them to be entertained to make the noise, but it does detract away from it. I reckon you could show us a bang average card, but if the crowd are really into it...
it would change your perspective.
You'd go from it being a 5 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think vice versa, if it's a really good match but the crowd sit on their hands, it can go from an 8 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10.
Yep.
It's,
no, I totally agree. And I think also because the crowd is so quiet, you can hear... I mean, Carmella is very good at character.
Yeah.
She's so sharp, which, again, is a character. But to me, I was like, her shouts are so shrill because there's no noise. And you could hear every word.
Yep.
I don't need to hear that. But then we had to because there's no crowd.
Well, exactly.
So fair play to her for carrying it on throughout the whole match.
Yeah, there's a couple of other moments that I liked. I think, funnily enough, you were slating the camera work in the opening match.
Yeah.
I think there was a good bit of camera work in this match.
I wonder if we've got the same bit.
Go for springboard kick.
Absolutely. Springboard roundhouse. Perfect camera angle.
I put springboard roundhouse kick as well.
Oh, wow.
You've put the same description. Whether we're right or wrong, you put the same as me. I'm impressed.
I thought perfect camera angle that was.
I said it was done well.
Yeah.
I said I think if they did the side-on angle, you've seen how much it missed by.
Yeah.
But because they quickly turned to the front view from the hard camera side, it covered it. It made it look like it
really
impacted.
Good.
You could tell by the crowd noise, it didn't.
Yes.
But from a visual from watching
TV
at home,
view, it
perfect.
Did. Yeah, really good.
I thought that was very good. Right, the code of silence. So that's...
yes, I've got that down there.
Brilliant.
I really like...
Because that's a genuine...
That is a good move.
It's
a good
unique.
submission move.
I can't think of anyone else who's done that.
Yeah.
And that would...
Yeah.
To quote myself from the last show, choke a bitch out.
Yeah, and also the person doing it is actually putting in a lot of effort.
Flexible enough to grab... Because doing it with your legs is enough, but she can grab her foot and tighten that grip.
I really
Genuinely
like it.
A brilliant move.
Really good.
I don't know if I don't think she uses it anymore.
I don't know.
I haven't seen her I mean, she's out obviously
yeah.
being pregnant. Maybe she's done it in lovemaking with Corey Graves. I don't know what they're into. I mean, I'm sure you'd watch a video if it came out. I probably would myself.
God.
But I don't think she does that move anymore.
It's so good.
Yeah, like I said, it's the unique aspects of it. And it's just a shame that could get removed from someone so easily.
Yeah, and I don't understand why, because it's not also like anyone else is doing it.
No, I just don't see an issue with her. Well, maybe when she comes back.
Yeah.
If she comes back,
yeah.
assumingly.
We'll see.
They can do the... Yeah.
Oh my god, yes. Bring her back doing that. That would be brilliant.
Yep. I'll be honest, that's one of the songs that occasionally gets stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And I'll go around the house kind of humming it.
Well, if you ever need to know how to spell fabulous,
well,
then you just sing it.
Yeah, someone needs to come out to Constantinople, don't they? So really, or like necessary, put that in a song. It was a good match, but like I said, so we saw the Rack Attack 2.0 and the pin sees Bella, and I put an all right match. I thought it was good. Obviously, we know my loyalties to Nikki Bella, but I think she did a lot of the heavy lifting work in this match. Okay. Mainly, like... She led it, that's for sure. Yeah, and I don't know, I think it was just the perfect
person to team Carmella up with. And this didn't end here. This carried on for ages.
Okay.
And then they said that, I did have a little Google after this, and they said that this was the first time they'd done a long-standing women's feud that multiplied over Monday, Thursday, pay-per-view, another pay-per-view. Like, it just continued for a little while. Then
so, because I don't know at this point how long the Divas era had been dead. I feel like that was about 2014, 15, something like that. So about a year, 2 years into it.
Yeah.
But I think the crowd was still in the mindset of Divas matches.
Yes, I don't think they'd
where you just
become
don't care.
accustomed to actually seeing women wrestling properly by this point.
So it's almost like they didn't register it as being decent wrestling.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm not going to say it was sensational, but it was
it.
perfectly serviceable, and it was a mile better than the other women's match on the card, which we'll get to later.
Yes.
But yeah, that was decent match. So yeah, I understand why you picked it, especially given your girl crush for Nikki.
Yep.
So the next bit, we have a backstage skit.
Yes, we do.
Between Daniel Bryan and The Miz. My only takeaway from this was seeing Bryan dressed in regular clothes makes me feel sadder than he looks.
Oh,
he looks.
I forgot
so
they did
sad.
all of this. Like, you know, the whole like talking smack and all that. Totally, for some reason, forgot they did all that, and that he
really
like not presented it, but you know, he was on it.
Yeah.
Totally forgot all that until they started doing these
Do you remember that Miz
preview
promo
segments.
from there? That
yes,
best
that
promo
very,
he has ever done.
Very good.
Very good.
Yes.
Because it was close to the line.
Mm-hmm. And you could tell
factual.
it was close to the line by reactions as well.
And I think because Daniel Bryan was getting animated into it, but I don't think it's because he was like. I think he was like, "This is really good. Let's embrace this."
Yeah, I do remember.
Because I remember when I saw that, I was like, "They could do something with Miz here," and they never really did. He's a permanent mid carder.
Yeah, he's a lifer.
But I don't. A lot of his matches I don't dislike. I don't think
he's very good.
I don't think they're always excellent just because I can't get into him too much as a person. But I have no issue with him being on shows.
Very good, yeah.
And by all accounts, a really nice guy.
Yes, from what I've seen watching other things.
A rarity,
yeah.
Given that, because obviously you watch Ms. and Mrs., which is Total Bellas, and
of course.
Did you watch Total Divas as well?
Of course.
Okay, so
watch it all.
This is outside my wheelhouse, but do you think that could convert? So for anyone who happens to be over listening this, whether it's their partner, their significant other, whoever it is that's listening to this, they have no interest.
Yeah, for sure. Watch them.
Okay, so what would you kind of compare it to as like a comparison show that is non?
God, so in a non-wrestling term, he's probably a little bit like Real Housewives. If people watch that, I know you're looking at me blankly, but
no, I know
people that are in that situation will understand, because there's a bit of wrestling in there, but it mainly focuses on their training, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's more about their personal lives, and yes, I get it's scripted reality.
Yeah. So like,
but you do get to see. So it's like,
Made
like
in Chelsea
Towie and all that sort of stuff, where some things have been
like the basis of it's real,
enhanced.
but they're setting it up to make it.
But then there were some things on there that you could tell were 100% real, like, and also like Nikki Bella and John Cena going through a full-on breakup on camera.
Yeah.
Who does that? But they were willing to do it.
I'll be honest.
And I've had full respect for them for doing it, because it was interesting seeing the side of John Cena that people don't see. And he wasn't very nice. I was going to say,
to touch upon it, he seems like a massive James Blunt.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, especially in the relationship sense.
He doesn't come off well in these programmes.
Like, and this is going to sound like I'm lying. I genuinely haven't seen an episode, but you see the clips from like YouTube. You go down that rabbit hole where you're only 2 clicks away from something like that.
Yeah.
And any time I saw a clip, and I don't know how much it's been staged to look like that, but you think because it's John Cena, they probably tried to not do that, if anything.
Well, that was my thinking the whole way through. Like, why would you willingly come across like that? But then he's, I don't know, I just think that's how he is.
But you see the opposite with someone like Bryan Danielson, who seems like a genuinely lovely guy, and yet someone who you can
Dean Ambrose.
He's
on there a little bit with Renee.
I think he'll have been given a strict set of instructions on do not talk about your mum having 3 ways for drugs and this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not in it a lot because he's not a featured like character in quotations. Do you know what I mean? But like when he is on there, he just looks like good fun to be around. So zen. Yeah. So zen. Like nothing phases him. He doesn't seem to care about anything.
Like I said, he's probably gone through enough shit in his time that it would take a lot to register.
But no, I would recommend watching them.
Okay, because my missus, Emma, not Holly, I mentioned this to her and said, well, Holly suggested watching something like that to see if you can, and she's not one to watch Towie.
Whereas I love stuff like that.
Like the only one that she would watch of the reality TV show variety was Married at First Sight Australia.
Oh right, okay.
And she got turned off it. I'll be honest, she hooked me onto a couple of the seasons myself, but I think when it wasn't the experiment that was the selling point. After a while, it was the same as what they did with Big Brother back in the day. You have legitimate people from all aspects of life come in, but now they're like, oh right, let's find the craziest bunch of fuckers.
No, I would recommend if you're the partner of someone or whatever, or you're just not sure, give it a watch. It is easy watching after a stressful day.
I see that kind of stuff adds more stress to me though. No. Just because of the awkward situations and like you like Impractical Jokers.
I love that.
I can't. I just watch it and everything in me tenses up, which I never used to be the case because like Trigger Happy TV back in the day, loved that. Yeah. But now it's just I tense.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a little. But yeah, we segued a bit there, but I think it was a valid point to kind of reach out to anyone that might be listening that's not engaged. So the next part I put about they've gone to the Susan G. Komen Cancer Charity. They do a nice little package there.
Yeah, nice.
The only thing that I don't like is Titus O'Neill because I just think what a goof. He's a lovely bloke, Dad of the Year, all this good stuff. But all I see him is him going like a harp seal, and then he just falling under the ring. Just not a good wrestler. Lovely bloke, does a lot of good stuff community-wise.
I think he's the perfect guy though for doing all of these things.
You're probably not wrong.
Perfect.
You're probably not wrong. But I see him and I just go, you goof. Like, I don't know. That's it's fine. He's like I said, but you're right. Probably the best placed person to do that. To be fair. Okay, so we go on to the tag team title match. Heath Slater and Rhino defending their SmackDown tag team titles against the Brothers Uso.
I know. Totally forgot about this match, didn't I?
I remember Heath Slater because he's got kids.
Love him.
All right, he's got kids, and he's a genuinely nice bloke. Talking about the reality shows, did you see? I think it was Pranked or something. It was a WWE Network.
Oh no, I didn't watch it.
You probably like it. So they're pranking WWE wrestlers in various environments. There's a bit where I can't remember exactly who's with him, but there's a few wrestlers. They're out at a restaurant, and nearby there's a guy harassing his, I don't know if his girlfriend, wife. It's staged, obviously, and he's been a proper tool towards him. And Heath Slater basically catches it and immediately goes, "If you keep this up, I'm going to kick your fucking head in." Aww. And just like a good Samaritan. And when he says it, because he's such a goof again in WWE, and then you saw that, you're like, "Oh shit, he's a scary dude." Yeah. Like he will stab someone if he has to. And I just thought that was quite a nice. I gained a respect for him. Yeah. I couldn't tell you anything else I saw in that show. I only saw like one or two episodes, but that stuck in my head, and it gave me additional respect for him. Okay. But so we've got here. So I said I put good look by the Usos because it was halfway between their face paint, war dancing. Samoan selves to the day one crop top wearing muffin tops.
What? No crop tops?
Well, I said I didn't know they were in a boy band.
Yeah, I forgot they used to wear identical clothes.
Yeah, exactly, with haircuts and everything.
Decent haircuts though. This
was
they
didn't have the mullet
tails.
with the red dye or blue dye.
No.
But I forgot they had a boy band phase.
They looked like a unified tag team here.
The shoes, bit questionable. Didn't quite go with the rest of the symphony of beige and greeny kind of colours.
Not mad at it, but
I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
And I put the next comment. I mean, it's not going to be controversial. I put, fuck me. I said I remember when Rhino was a beast. I said maybe the oddest shaped human of all time. Yeah. And then I followed it up with like, it's either a newt or a salamander. You grab its tail and it drops its tail off and then it regenerates it. I said I think that's happened with Rhino's arms at some point. Someone's grabbed his arms, he's dropped his arms off, they've started to grow back and then they've stopped. Okay. They stopped halfway. Because he's an absolute keg of a man. Like you could crush small cars with his thighs, I'm pretty sure. But his arms, little T-Rex arms.
Yeah, true.
And for as good as
they look so small because his chest area is so big.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure he's tough as nails, but in the WWE, certainly in this era, he just strikes me as a dad bod bitch. Like, I can't get behind him. Seeing as in his ECW days, he was ferocious. Right. Like, they managed to turn someone like Taz into a monster, given his stature. Mm-hmm. But Rhino was on a different level. Rhino was fucking killing fools. Okay. And he didn't say anything. You believed in him. So I think if I just knew him as he currently is, I wouldn't be. Yeah. But it's like seeing the world's toughest guy turn into like a nanny. And it's just too much of a
Yeah, I think obviously I don't know too much about his background. Obviously, we saw him in one of the first matches we ever reviewed.
He cameoed in it.
Didn't like him because of how that situation. But for me personally, this made me like Rhino, teaming him up with Heath Slater, because I freaking love Heath Slater.
Did you like him in his
Not
one-man band, three-man band?
I didn't like it when he had the floppy hair. Right,
because it was a bit soccer mum as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when he came out, I've got kids. This was, for me, I was like, yeah, I like him. I like this.
It was entertaining.
He's likeable. And then putting Rhino with him as well. It was like, for me, it was similar, and not on the same stature, but it was similar to when they put Kane and Daniel Bryan together.
Okay, fine.
It was kind of like you've got one person there who's
serious, has that side.
Yeah, and then you're going to put someone else with them that everyone really likes, or can get the likability on side. I just thought it was a good little combination.
They had high hopes for Heath Slater at one point.
Really did, yeah.
But like before NXT became its own entity, the developmental league for a while was Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
And he was a former FCW champion for a while. And they don't tend to do that for people unless they think there's going to be some upside to them. And I know they put him in Nexus and stuff, but they never really gave him a fair crack of the whip. And he fell into a similar role for me as Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins. Yeah. The three of them, that should have been the three.
You're naming some of my favourite people here.
I know I am. I don't think I wouldn't have said you'd have put Heath Slater in there, to be fair.
Again, he was for me one of those people, and I think from other people that I tend to like, he's one of those people that you'd be like, interesting but understandable. Okay. Maybe not to look at. Again, I think he's very attractive.
He's not ugly.
But it's his personality for me that really does it.
I think the accent would absolutely make me flaccid, though. That's the issue.
I'm happy with accents.
Southern states for me.
I'm all about it.
I know you're a big country music fan, I get that.
Yeah.
But there's like a thin line for me with it. But again, it seems
like
noted. But like I said, I think I did have respect for him, especially after I saw that clip.
But where are these two now?
Where are they now? So Rhino, I think, has gone to Impact, which is about to be rechristened to TNA in Topical News. So I'm pretty, because he used to be in there for a while as well. Yeah. So anytime he's not in WWE, that's pretty much where he ends up going in between stints of coming back. I want to say...
No idea what
I feel like Heath Slater was in Impact or was supposed to... I'm sure he was, but I don't actually know what he's doing now.
I could have Googled it, but I thought, you know what, I'll just ask.
We can Google it later. I mean, if anyone does happen to contact the show, I mean, they can always correct us on these points, because it will save us doing a bit of research.
Tell him we want to know where he is.
But yeah, it's someone that, again, I wouldn't be surprised if in a year's time you see him back in WWE just doing something.
Do you know what? I'd be absolutely fine with that. I think he would fit in.
He's got a place, though. Yeah. That's the thing. For me, in WWE, he's hit his ceiling.
He's still got kids.
He's still got kids. They're about 40 now, but he's still got kids. They're still his kids. But for me, like, the way that WWE can kind of completely put a stop to someone being seen as legitimate or a main eventer, I think they have to really make their name elsewhere to come back and be taken seriously.
Yes.
A good example of this recently would be like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
So I feel like, obviously, he wasn't getting a fair crack. The Stardust character wasn't good. I'll give him that.
That for me. Don't remember it.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll see eventually.
I'm sure we will too. I'm sure you'll hear me go, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, but again, even without that gimmick, they kind of had him hit his ceiling. Mm-hmm. So I never considered him as a legitimate main eventer. Obviously, when he went to AEW, even Ring of Honor, he did some stuff in NWA as well.
Yeah.
It kind of turned my perspective on him, and he's come back, and I look at him and go, yeah, okay, I see it,
because you've seen
how it can be presented, so that's kind of negated the WWE handicap they put on him. But yes, I feel like Heath Slater, in order to come back and be anything, he'll have to really do something exceptional elsewhere, otherwise he'll come back and just get the same treatment.
True.
Which he probably wouldn't mind, to be fair. I mean, I feel like he was genuinely gutted.
Yeah, he's just so... I've said it before, but he's just so likeable, and you get this aura from him that he's just happy to be there.
Yeah, I think he was.
He's just happy to be there, put on a bit of a show.
Same as Zack Ryder. I feel like that was very much the same.
Yes, get him back. I'm hoping time is ticking, because Chelsea Green is back.
To be fair, he's someone who has...
And he's good.
He's cemented himself fairly well. I'll be honest, I didn't care for woo-woo and all this stuff.
Okay, right, I've got a comment on that later, because I freaking forgot about those guys, and... I love them as well, and I know you hate that.
I know. I didn't. I'll be honest. I know what you're talking about. I didn't even make a comment that was on the show.
Yeah, I did.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that shortly. So the match itself.
Yeah.
I just again, the first thing after my comments on Rhino and what the Usos were wearing, I put Rhino shouting, "Who's the man?" Mm-hmm. Not you, lad. Sit down. You used to be, but like,
who's the older man?
Who's the keg? Like, it's just who's T-Rex? And again, he's got kids, but ginger hair and therefore no soul. Talk about Heath later. I'll be honest, I was going for comedy as much as anything, because sometimes I think of something, I need to write that down.
That makes me sad.
Whether I say it or not.
Someone will be laughing, that makes me sad.
Everyone should be laughing. It was grade A joke material. But it was the match itself. You tell me what you think of the match.
Right. Well, if I take out my personal feelings for Slater, I actually did put in here, I paused midway through and made my dinner.
Love that. What did you have for dinner? Do you remember?
Thai green curry.
Ooh, very nice. Yeah. Okay. More memorable than the match, apparently.
It was very good. But, I don't know, it was just a bit like, I was a bit nonplussed by it.
Yeah, the match itself, like the content of it, was fine.
It was a mid-card match, which obviously you have to have in here. And I put there were a few peaks of interest. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is right, so bear with me. But I put power slam from the turnbuckle.
I like that, when he ran up the ropes.
Yes.
Yeah, I commented on that.
Showed a bit of speed, bit nimble, bit of power.
It looked like he defied gravity as well, because there's one where he pauses at the apex of it before coming down.
Yes.
And I actually went, fair fucks, Heath.
So there were some bits I liked. I don't know if this is a right move either, so please feel free to laugh. Tequila Sunrise.
That is a move.
Yeah. I'm sure it was in there, and I've just put messy as fuck. I don't remember it now, but I remember watching it, listening to the commentary going,
Tequila
what move
Sunrise
is this?
That submission move.
And I just put messy.
Well, so... But you meant the submission move as well, so you named... Yeah, then you're right. Yeah, that is a move, yeah. It was messy.
You see my face there going, is this right? Have I named it right?
That's fine.
Is this why I don't use move names?
It's not a shame circle, you're fine. It was talking about being a mid-card match. One of my comments on it is mid-card Jey Uso, don't give me this main event bullshit. But he was very funny in this match. I think he's very good at his character work as well.
Yes.
He was showing, I got kids! As well, shouting, brilliant.
Yes, I did, yeah.
Brilliant.
He has always been comedic for me as well. And I think they should let him do it a bit more.
Yes.
It's not so fun. That's such a div comment to say, but not so fun when he's serious. Like, obviously. But it's like Sami Zayn for me. Yeah. Like, he's very good serious, but also give him a little bit of, you're not feeling so oosy. And that's it. I'm invested.
Well, that will break Jay's character.
Well, yeah. But I don't know, like, if you can tell someone is actually naturally, like, comedic and funny, let them do it a little bit. It's entertaining.
There's the right time to do it though, not just for the sake of it.
Not just for...
Because they let Sami Zayn run away with the comedy thing for too long for me. I'm sure we'll have a show with him.
Oh, for sure.
I'll give my thoughts on that whole issue. But the pacing of the match itself was good. Like you said, there's nothing overly spectacular in it, but I wasn't bored. I didn't switch off at any point. No. I wasn't like, oh god, though. It wasn't an extreme either way for me.
It was alright.
But yeah, match was absolutely fine. And I also said Jay throws everything with some oomph. Yeah. Fair play.
Yeah.
So again, as much as I called him mid-card Jay earlier, and that's just because I can't see him as a single star.
If you had a choice of the two of them, which one are you having as a single?
Jay.
Yeah,
it's obviously Jay. Jimmy's kind of more interesting now with that twist, although I didn't like the way that he's gone back into the bloodline. I'm sure it's leading to something long-term. But again, they've given him a bit of an edge. What I have a real issue with, and this is something they did the same damn thing with the Bellas before Nikki got all the cosmetic surgery, is they treat them like they're the same person.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can be twins.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
that
you
have to be the same.
Exactly.
Your personalities aren't the same.
Let them be their own individuals, because
just because they look the same.
And that's why I think that kind of part of my comment about mid-card Jey Uso, because a lot of the stuff he does I actually quite like. Yeah. But in my head, if they gave him like the US title, the Intercontinental title, fine. Maybe long term my opinion would change on him. Do I want to see him hold the WWE title? No. No,
I don't think that would. Especially when you think of everyone else that's there. Him over other people.
Yeah.
Nah.
So that's why I feel like that's kind of...
Yeah, and to call yourself main event, like, are you going to hold that championship? Probably not, really.
You've main evented a few shows, but you're not main event. Not to me, anyway.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Hopefully, maybe down the line, you can be, depending on how this goes, but mid-card.
Yeah. One of the things I noted during this match, this is how you can tell how invested I am or not.
Right.
Is that I will listen to the commentary.
So it wasn't okay, right? Elaborate.
So I just said I wonder if they got paid per time they said the words "No Mercy," because they must have said it about 20 times through this match.
Is that a drinking game?
I hope not, because I would have been pissed.
Well, I don't know. You can hold your liquor quite well.
Yeah, I can, but
at the wrestling, bit, I didn't realise. I saw the amount that because I was keeping pace.
Yeah, I can sink a good number of beers.
You absolutely can. And you were walking and everything. Yeah. I mean, you walked into me a few times.
Yeah,
but,
that was towards the end of the night, not just in the middle, but you know.
Got home. That's the main thing. Got home. Speaking of like highlight moments of the match, the pop-up Samoan drop looked great.
Yeah.
On Slater. I love a well-done pop-up Samoan drop. Anything where you throw the guy up, snatch him out of the air and throw them that feels there's an edge, there's an aggression, a violence to it. Really like it. Yeah. And it was done very well in this instance.
Yeah.
And then my next comment was, you already touched upon it, the power slam from the top rope.
Oh, yeah.
I said, briefly seemed to defy gravity and the laws of physics. And then we kind of come to the end, we see a gore by Rhino, and the champions defend the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I put surprisingly good.
Happy.
Yeah, so when I say surprisingly good, I'm not saying excellent, but it exceeded my expectations, which I will take. Yep. So far we've had 3 matches.
Yep.
Very good ones.
Okay.
And then
I know where you're going with this.
And then it takes a little bit, just a little bit of a nosedive. But before that, we've got another promo. We've got a Bray Wyatt promo. I say promo. He's like talking in tongues.
Yes.
He sat there rocking backwards and forwards, and then I put speaking in tongues in brackets. Still a good promo.
Yeah.
Just it goes with the character.
Anything he did was
works.
Very good.
Believable
at this point,
very believable, and again, by all accounts, a sweetheart outside of the ring as well, from what I've seen. And then he goes into singing. He's got the whole world in his hands. Yeah,
of course, and that is so chilling.
It is, especially
always has been, especially now.
Cadence.
But even then, it was so chilling.
Yeah, 100%. So that was a just brief little stint before we go into
awful.
So, right. So Spunky gets another look in one of our shows.
I think we're going to have to start totting up who's featured in these, because
Baron Corbin is getting more.
He's getting more airtime than John Cena right now.
Baron Corbin's getting pushed harder in our podcast than he is the WWE.
Yeah.
We have Jack Swagger against Baron Corbin.
Right.
Okay. I will be reserved for now.
Okay.
I will let you go in with your.
I don't have
comments.
Many things to say on this match.
Okay. Oh, I do.
First one said, "Fuck me. Should have waited till now to cook my dinner."
Yeah.
If it's not a Freddo, it's making dinner. Jack Swagger, go away.
Well, he did.
Yeah, he did. Him. But there's rumours circulating online he's coming back.
Oh, suck my ass.
Whether that's true or not, and as a person, I'm sure it's great, right? Yeah. As a wrestler, I don't need it in my life. I don't think it fits. I don't think it's necessary. And in here, he was also wearing a unitard, which made me angry even more.
Well,
we know I don't like a unitard.
How do you feel about it on Kurt Angle? Because effectively,
I don't mind it because he takes his straps down as well.
But Jack Swagger has done that, hasn't he?
But for Angle, it's believable for his character, because in normal wrestling, in college wrestling, in Olympic wrestling, that's what you wear.
What do you think Jack Swagger did?
Yeah, but he just doesn't.
He was a solid
I know.
level, or college level, as they would say.
I don't know. It just doesn't fit right for me for him.
He's done MMA. I know he's a tough guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I just look at him and think
I don't like his character, and I know you don't know. They're so dumb. I know you don't have to like all of them, but
you have to dislike them for the right reasons.
I don't not like him because of his character. I just don't. I don't care for him. I think apathy. I don't care. I could forget him very easily.
And I think that's it for me, because he just comes across again. It's like the Titus O'Neil curse. He's better wrestler than Titus O'Neil, but he comes across as a goofy bitch. Just the way he's portrayed.
So I just don't. There's nothing about him that interests me.
No, I mean,
character, no wrestling, no. I just get off my telly.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, he is for the most part at the moment, but hopefully, we might see him again sooner rather than later by the sounds of it. Yeah. So I put Jack Swagger comes out to no reaction. And I did notice that actually, and I did actually feel bad. Whoever they are, when they come out and they're saying no noise, I do think, oh God, that must be fucking awful. When you get to We the People, they would say that.
That really confused me. I know it's like a... No, word's not coming. I'm going to say national thing, but it's not.
Patriotic.
Yeah, thank you. You can tell it's a Sunday morning, brain's not working. And I do get that, but I'm just a bit like, if you're not invested in him, just keep it quiet. Or
you have to be uniformly not interested.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, so hold your horses, but I'm going to give a little compliment.
Oh my God, are you going to be nice to him? Okay.
To old Spunk Nozzle.
Good.
I said this was Corbin's best look.
I really liked the lone wolf.
I like the
It was the
camera
best
work.
gimmick for him.
I don't mind his current music.
Yeah.
But
this was
the way that they did the lights
so
as he came out.
Yeah.
The hair didn't bother me because it
didn't bother me then
it
either.
was
It fitted for the lone wolf.
The gear himself.
Yeah.
The gear itself was good.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But so the thing that makes me sad that what WWE do is that if someone's got a little bit of pudge, even ever so slightly, you're banned from not having your midriff covered. But then,
right, if you're mid like range, a normal body, that's what happens. But if you're ripped, you can basically wear whatever you like. Or if you're jive freaking enormous, you can wear whatever you like.
Are you thinking of Otis?
Of course I freaking am. Of course I am.
So, for me, but now, the thing is, because I know why they've done it, anytime I see him without a top, I'm just looking at the sad face belly.
Yeah.
And it makes...
I mean, he's not the only one they do it to either.
No, he's not, and it's unfair, because I never thought anything of it until as soon as they take it away, and I'm like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
And then
it's like Damien Priest. Exactly the same issue with Damien Priest.
But Damien Priest...
And he's got a banging body.
To be fair, I think and both of them had this. They were both larger guys. So Baron Corbin came from NFL background,
and he was a stocky
guy. But I'm not saying it's the fat, strong kind of combination.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And it is a shame because let them wear what they want. What do you think you're gonna? I mean, they're not selling shirts really off these people.
And I know I comment on a lot of the wrestling attire, but I wouldn't look and go, no, I
don't want to see that.
No, I don't care. They're not there to make me want to buy their clothes.
And
they're there to wrestle.
And yet Jey Uso can go around in a crop top.
Honestly, that's
which
so
for
silly.
me is just a crime in itself.
So silly.
But to be fair to Corbin, I thought this was probably the best attire I've seen him in as well. Fine.
Do you know what? I wish they'd just bring... I know they've obviously done all that stupid stuff in the middle, Happy Corbin and all that.
Yeah.
But where they are now with him, I like it. Tell you what, bring back the Lone Wolf again.
Yeah.
He's just got a shaved head. That would be the only difference.
Yeah. The shaved head...
his character, his personality on the show, or in wrestling, works for being a loner
apparently
good.
He's actually quite cantankerous outside.
Okay.
Like he's not a necessarily problem maker. Again, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen and read, he is a bit of a loner. Where a bit like Brock Lesnar, he'll do what is needed, but he's not there to hang around with people, make friends and stuff. Yeah. And I think to a lesser extent, not to the same as Brock Lesnar, but I think that's very much the case. And again, it was the unique character that they took away from him. And as much as I don't particularly care for the shaved-headed look, as I've mentioned before, it's the clean-shaven thing with it and the attire. It's just all-in-one thing. It's death by 1,000 cuts is the reason why I'm put off him in the way that I am. But this look, fine. I had no issue with him in this era.
Really liked it. I thought it was really good.
I
really
like the
clever.
finisher.
End of days.
Good finisher.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it works for that character.
But
you can't be happy. I know he's not now, but you can't be Happy Corbin doing an End of Days. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it should be called Sweet Dreams or something. I don't know. Or Luck of the
So I just think they should bring back this.
But again, so this is a thing which I hate them doing. So I said this was Corbin's best look, but introducing the international commentary teams is far more important than seeing old Spunky the Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Do that before the entrance.
Yeah.
Just here's XYZ, here's XYZ.
Exactly.
Oh, and now we go to the match.
Yeah, just show something on the screens for the people in the arena to keep them entertained. Introduce them. It doesn't have to be long. But because I straight away I go, oh, you don't care about them, I don't care about them.
Exactly. No, I
which was a shame.
agree.
Which was already a tough thing for this match in general, because who cares?
Yeah.
Right. Now the content of the match itself, okay.
Yeah, it was alright.
Wasn't awful.
No, it wasn't awful. It was, again...
Given who was involved...
Mid-card.
It was very much a mid-card match. But given who was involved,
yeah.
I think I was slightly... I'm not saying impressed, but it gave more than... It delivered more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, the expectation was low.
How do you feel about Corbin's move where he's given an Irish whip to run into the turnbuckle, slides out, comes in the other side? I do, but it has to be in certain circumstances. When the guy's just watching you run out, come around and go in, looks dumb. And I could be wrong, but I feel like Swagger watched him the entire way he did that. And I thought that looked stupid.
But I like that move. I think it's again,
different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Very different. And it adds a bit of something. But yeah, you are right. Like, if I'm just watching, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Different doesn't always mean better.
No.
But if it's used sparingly in the right circumstances, I think it's good.
Yes. It's a lot of these moves. It's like they see it, they go, oh, that's good. And then they go, let's do it again and again and again.
So I put here, I said, I can't decide if I like it. And I think I've just kind of touched upon the reason why, because I couldn't articulate it to myself when I was making these notes.
Yep.
I think that pretty much the nail on the head. There's a couple of moments that were good. Like I said, there was a little thing, it kind of looked awkward, but I think it worked quite well, was when Baron shoulder tackled Swagger face first into the middle turnbuckles, because it was like Swagger was trying to get his foot in, Corbin thought, I need to keep him down, NFL background kicked in, tackle him. Believable.
Yes.
It's like something you would probably try and do.
Yes.
I liked it. Now, the chants that kicked in, I couldn't work out legitimately if they were going boring or Corbin.
Oh, I've written down boring.
Okay, so it probably was boring then. But I said the crowd were dead.
Yeah.
So that was the only time they got off their hands.
But I just don't know, if that's me as a job, what do I prefer? Do I prefer nothing, or do I prefer them like hurling abuse at me? Nothing.
I'd assume nothing.
We know, because obviously when we've seen wrestling, I feel sad, but and I feel bad about some of the chants, and I sit there and I go, oh, it makes me feel sad, because I have to put myself in their position, and I have too much empathy for my liking. I'll be honest, but I'm just like, oh, I can't, because if I'm at work, I don't want someone. Don't start doing this tomorrow. But I don't want someone leaning across the desk at me going, "You're shit. You're shit."
Well, it's better than you suck dick and she's a crack whore. What would you rather have? You can't win.
Well, the chance would be a fine thing.
Right, so many things to discuss during the break between recordings on this one, I think. Jamie's going to have a field day making snippets of this one, to be honest. So after this, I said the deep six was executed well, which is that kind of spinning thing, especially on a big guy like Swagger, 6'6".
It did show that, there's a lot of strength between those two. It's not necessarily visually. They're not like, they're not your Austin Theories, they're not John Cena's, but they're obviously really freaking strong. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to kind of see that. Which is funny you put
Austin Theory in that, because he's obviously yoked, but I don't look at you and think, you're strong. There's something about him where I'm sure this isn't the case, but I look at him going thinking, I reckon I could kick his ass. There's something about him that's just, and I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure I am wrong, but I don't think, powerful wrestler. Like if I'm thinking powerful, I'm thinking Braun Strowman.
Oh well, yes.
Obviously. I'm thinking.
I don't know why Austin Theory just came to my head straight away.
I wonder why.
It's one of many, I'll be honest.
One of many, brilliant. Not even special, son, in Holly's book. One of many. Yep. I also said that the end of days was equally impressive. The pinfall win. I said it was an all right match. I said the crowd were crap.
Yeah, I think you're right in a sense that if they just gave it a bit more oomph, the match would be a 5 out of 10 raising to a 6 or a 7. Yeah, it would take it from mid card to like a low high. Decent. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's where it's at. If I'm looking at things objectively,
I just need to get people in there that just actually like wrestling rather than are coming for main events. Yeah, and I think sometimes that might be the issue.
Audience, isn't it? Like WWE, their main market has been for a long time and will be for a long time. Kids. Yeah. So the parents are going in there.
Yeah, true.
To make the kids happy, and whereas like AEW's approach and a lot of the independents are different. They're not targeting it towards kids. The kids can come and watch, but that's not the sole.
No, they're going for that actual wrestling fans.
They're going for the people that. I mean, I was about to say the people that will actually spend money, but obviously the parents will spend the money for the kids. But you need the variety.
Yes,
in there.
For sure.
Right, so that match is done.
Yep.
I'll let you take the lead on this one again.
Well, the next match.
Yeah, so the next match we have the Intercontinental title in a title versus career match between the defending champion, The Miz, and Dolph Ziggler.
Yes.
Go.
Oh, God, he's ridiculous.
Dolph Ziggler?
Yes. I've always, known he's a beautiful specimen of a man.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, he's also such a good seller, like, not an overseller. But the promo that you watched before, because I didn't really remember any of the whole, one more time and I'm just going to put my career on the line.
That was the one bit I remembered.
Believable-ish, but I didn't, because obviously I know that he's only just recently been let go. So I'm like, well, I know he's still around, so either he did lose and they somehow brought him back, which they've done with many people. I just didn't know. So I didn't know who actually won, I'll be honest.
Okay. So for me, in counteracting that point, as soon as he goes, I'm putting my career on the line.
Yeah.
Well, you're winning then, because you're not retiring.
Yeah,
you're not going anywhere. So for me, that's the dead cert.
Yeah.
I guess, like you said, I mean, they can book around it. They can go, okay,
sure
right, he's going to go away for a couple of months and then somehow
yeah.
come back. So they could do that, but straight away, that for me...
Yeah, fair enough.
I think, well, we know who's winning.
Yeah. But, honestly, this match really surprised me.
In a good way, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing that I wish, and I know it's the whole character thing, I just wish they would let Miz wrestle on these big stages by himself.
Without Maurice.
His wife is beautiful.
She's alright.
Fuck off. Like, we don't need her at ringside because we all know what's going to happen. We all know she's going to interfere. And that is where I thought, maybe this is why it doesn't finish how I think it finishes.
Okay.
But not to jump to the end, I'll go back to the start. I thought it was really good. I thought it started quickly.
Yep.
It started quite scrappy, which was, I enjoyed that. It wasn't like the whole Cena freeway. So I didn't look at you because I knew she would smile at me when I said freeway.
I smiled because I knew you'd thrown yourself off by saying it. I didn't smile until I saw that you'd thrown yourself completely off rhythm.
You know what I mean. But
I do know what you mean.
When they
So
stood around shouting at each other and pointing at each other, this was very much a ding ding, right, we're in.
Well, to go along with what you said, I put very good promo package.
Yes.
I said I don't... The issue that I have, apart from it being career versus title, which I feel like is a bit of a giveaway, again, not talking about the quality of the match itself, I said this is a match from this era. I feel like from 2010 onwards, for about 5-6 years, I feel like I've seen The Miz and Dolph Ziggler hundreds of times.
True.
And I've said throw Kofi Kingston in there, I've seen it millions.
Right.
Because it's always a version of those three, and the Intercontinental title or US title.
Just going back on...
The matches are good.
Yeah.
But after a while, show me something else.
Yeah.
So, they changed the stakes a little bit in this one, in terms of someone's got their career on the line and a title on the line. But I said, I just feel like I've seen it.
Okay.
And to be fair, I have actually seen it.
I think because I haven't probably seen that many of them, it didn't fuss me.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly valid point. And then the second comment I put, and this kind of ties in with the first match of the night, is in fact, of the positioning, but this is the positioning within the match itself. I don't ever want to see the champ come out first. I don't care if you're face, I don't care if you're heel.
Yeah, that's true.
The champ should never come out first.
No, it should always be a challenger.
Yeah. And the champ gets the extra pomp.
Yes.
I think the only time I've heard it explained away was in the late 80s or early 90s by Jesse the Body Ventura, who you will have no familiarity with, but at some point we'll go down that rabbit hole. And I think it was a Ric Flair world title match. He came out first.
Right.
And it was explained away by saying it's the champion's right to elect whether he comes out first or second. Okay. That's the only time I've heard it explained.
Oh, okay.
Whether
maybe that's
like
the thing,
it.
I don't know.
It's not. It's just whoever they think they're going to have the better reaction for tends to be.
Why wouldn't you want them to come out second?
I know.
That's strange to me.
I don't like it. Even if the person that is the champion is way less popular than the first person, I don't care.
Yeah.
It should always be a set thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't here, and it annoyed me. So what do you think of the gear in this one?
Did you know I'd make a point about Dolph Ziggler's gear?
I think any time I see a beautiful man, I know that there will be a comment on something to do with the aesthetics of what they're wearing.
I loved the pink trousers.
I didn't.
Oh, I freaking loved them. But to me, that's very him. Because a lot of his gear had pink flecks in it, or like
silver was a big one for him as well.
And also, I think for me as well, it was also the fact that it kind of intertwined with the fact that they were doing the Think Pink and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, fair enough. I hadn't considered that.
Of all the people that could wear pink gear, it's him.
He pulls it off. I just didn't like the design on it. I don't think it was as much the colour, but I didn't quite work out what the designs on there were. I just thought, I was like, it's alright.
I was
like, he's a pretty man, so he can wear whatever.
He could wear anything he likes, I'll be honest.
Mrs. Gear, fine. But he wears pants. Thoughts?
Yeah.
I feel like he looked weird in trousers, though.
Yeah, I don't hate it on him. I don't know. There's a very slim pool of people. I'm making a circle to show you my pool of people.
Circle, but okay.
That I feel like, for me, I don't mind watching them wrestle in pants. Him, I don't mind, and it's not because... Like, you know, he's got a good physique, but he's not ripped. Like,
no.
he's just strong. He's very strong.
Yeah. You can tell he goes to the gym, obviously.
But he would look odd in anything else. For me, The Miz is either in his pants wrestling or he's in a suit.
Do you remember the jorts?
No.
So when he first came onto the scene...
Was this when he came out of Real World and went straight into wrestling?
Yeah, with his mohawk and stuff. And was
really interesting.
He used to have, like, kind of jortsy.
Okay.
They're a bit longer than Cena's.
Yeah.
And they flared out, and it was a bit more grunge, I guess, is the design, I would say.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll look this up after now.
Obviously going to
But that's the only other gear I've seen him in, other than
I think it fits for him. And I also think, obviously, a lot of work when they do it together, him and Maurice do, it works because they're both barely wearing anything.
Yeah.
And it works.
Maurice is, as you said, very pretty woman. However, this gear choice, not for me.
No,
not even a flicker.
Okay.
No, just nothing. Because sometimes, usually when she comes out, you go, holy shit, what's she not wearing? Yeah. And this time I just went, that's different. Yeah. And that was the last I thought of it. Like the whole match, which is fine, to be fair. I'm not supposed to.
No.
But it wasn't particularly exciting, I didn't think. So, and this is where it started to dawn on me at this point. I put, Holly's had a number of matches with people that will make her melt.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I think there was only one match so far where there was no one, like in the tag team match. You like Heath Slater. Yeah. But that's the only match where there hasn't been a bit of a Holly dribble fest on the go.
So far.
And there's more to come. That's the best part of it. There's more to come. And I put it here, I like Maurice, not one of her better outfits. So I feel like I've covered that point, don't need to go into more detail on it.
Yep.
And again, much like the triple threat after the initial talking, quite a fast-paced start.
Yeah, I like that.
A lot of back and forth.
Fine.
Works. They're obviously very used to each other.
Yes. This is what I do like, I think. Obviously, they're used to wrestling each other, and it works well. There's not a lot of thinking time because they've either like practiced it or they just know how to wrestle each other.
Like you get muscle memory with... It must be like dancing.
Yeah,
I'm not saying, I hate that cliche. It's not ballet. Yeah. But there must be an element of that in it.
There is definitely muscle memory. So it must be... But you can tell and it looks good for me.
There were a couple of moments...
Smooth. There's always a couple of dodgy ones. There's one particular one that I really did not enjoy.
I think we're going to touch on the same thing then.
But for the most part, I was like, I just like it because it runs, you believe it, it's peaks and troughs. Great, I was happy.
I touch on a point that you raised earlier, and I am in agreement with you. I said Ziggler is one of the better sellers.
Yes.
Because occasionally he borderlines on overselling, but he tends to pull it back just enough.
He'll get to that cusp.
And then pull it back. I put him in the same, because for me, one of my favourite sellers, as I mentioned in the last show, is RVD, because that man could look dead when he was hit with something. Ziggler has that in him. And I think he put it on good display in this. He didn't go into the realms of overselling for me, so I think he was right in that sweet spot. I said this is when it started to, dawn on me that this was bang in the middle of The Miz mocking Daniel Bryan, like in all of his matches.
I literally put, at least it's consistent with, he's having a match with someone else. They've obviously had the backstage stuff, continues to mock Daniel Bryan.
So they're not entirely dependent things, they're still remembering. And that's what it's like the interconnecting stories and the long-term memory of people. Because suddenly, like, you see people that feuded for ages, then a year later they're like, oh, hi, buddy, how you doing? Like, there's still got to be a little bit of tension there. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to be permanently at war with each other, but I agree. I feel like it was a little bit overplayed in some instances. Yeah. Because at the time, no one knew that Daniel Bryan was going to be coming back. No. So it felt like, because all you wanted to do, and I guess it's good heel work from The Miz, is you want to see Daniel Bryan kick The Miz's ass.
Absolutely.
And I guess eventually we did get that. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I was just like, don't remind me of what we've lost.
Yeah, true.
So long term, fine, but I remember at the time being like, I get it.
Why are they doing this? Because he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I get it.
And I think that was the whole point, wasn't it?
Exactly that, because Miz is doing it from a place of arrogance, like, you can't touch me. No. So it works. It was, like I said, good heel work. Now, the one thing I didn't like in this match was a particular move, and they did it twice.
I think I know what it is.
Go on.
Is it the slingshot powerbomb?
It is the...
Aren't you impressed? Is that what it is called?
I put rebound.
Oh, okay.
You can say slingshot's not wrong because it's propelled off the ropes, but I said rebound.
Right. I like it, but the first time they didn't place it right because Dolph was too far over the ropes, and you could see he really had to use a lot of ab work there to get himself back over. Second time was okay, But because I'd seen it botched that first time, I was like, just don't try it again. Like, it's...
That, for me, that was it. And I thought, if Ziggler can't take that well, take it out your arsenal.
Yeah. If you've got someone as ring, educated, I can't think of any words.
No, that's fine.
As Dolph doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
because if he can't take it well, you're not going to be able to hit anyone well.
No.
Maybe Rey Mysterio because he's significantly smaller.
Yeah.
But for me, again, I like the idea. I feel like it's a touch of the Cena. Like, right, let's pull something out of the hat that I don't normally do. Because I forgot he even did this.
Yeah.
So, which suggests that he probably doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it
and
for
I don't
a while.
think it's a bad thing that he doesn't do it anymore. But yeah, they did it twice, and I was like,
it had the potential to be brilliant, that one move. And as soon as I saw the placement of his back, I thought, it's too far over, he's going to let him go. And actually, what would have been better, do it, Dolph go over the top rope and
take him with him,
pull
like
Miz with you.
Rana.
Fine.
Yeah, I gave him points for creativity,
Yeah.
but not on the execution, sadly. So I saw Miz going for the sunset flip powerbomb from the top rope. I said, made me wince, because I was just thinking about Rollins.
This is my second move I would have banned.
Fine.
Every single person that does it, you land with such emphasis on your knees.
Whilst you're not looking to gauge it as well.
And having seen, obviously, the clip with Rollins and his
knee popping sideways.
Like, every time someone does it, pre or post Rollins' injury, please stop. Please stop, because you're getting no rebound either.
Yeah.
You're landing with a bent knee, yes. This comes from a good old dancer's background. But there's no rebound. You're not landing off that with a little bounce. It's just impact. A doof. Yeah. And I don't like it. Get rid, please.
So, but would you get rid of every move that's ever injured someone?
No.
Because then you're limiting a lot.
But I've never seen someone do the sunset flip where they land
from the top,
and I go, oh, that didn't sound like it's absolutely jarring every part of your body.
I think that's more of an experience thing from you. I tend to wince a little bit.
I'm injury bound, so maybe that is my issue.
Yeah, well, at least no one's landed on the neck, so that's, again, story for another day.
Take that one.
I said the fans were very into this one, actually.
At times, for me.
For as bad as they were in a couple of the matches we've seen, they regained a little bit of credibility in my books for how they were on this one. Yeah. But you said it wasn't as much as you thought it would be.
No, I didn't. There was one or two particular times, and I appreciate it was when, I think it was when they were both down and they're both having like a little breather.
Yeah.
And the crowd kind of simmered. And then all of a sudden Dolph, like for me, I've put Dolph's energy peaks were perfectly timed. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he's in a submission and he's asleep and he's awake. It was more of a, I'm just taking a breather and I'm back.
Okay.
And then the crowd would also, for me, do the same, which worked.
So it was good manipulation from Dolph?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can't dispute it. The only time where they came close to doing one of those submission moves that we don't like, where you go out and go in, was when Ziggler threw himself into the sleeper hold.
Yes.
And Miz started to, as if he was going, but then he reached the ropes. It wasn't too
exactly what
bad.
I put, oh, here we go. I'm so sleepy. I'm awake.
Yeah, it wasn't as egregious as we've seen some of the others, but I did notice it. And like I said, they started to get in with the near falls to the point where I started getting into the near falls as well. The only one which so Ziggler got put down with something, but he landed very near to the ropes. And as soon as I saw that landing, I remember thinking, well, he's going to put his foot on it. He could kick
that really slow boom.
He left it a little bit too late.
Yes.
But the body positioning of how he landed straight away, I was like, oh, okay, he's going to get the ropes.
It was clever as well, but it didn't look like, from that angle that I saw, I was like, oh, is this how it finishes?
Okay.
And then you just nonchalantly puts his leg out.
Nonchalantly, another very good word. Did you notice the Miz nearly went for the wrong leg? He went to grab the far leg,
didn't.
which would have
wouldn't have worked. Him. No, I didn't see that,
because he went to do it and then kind of last second hooked the near one. So that's how, again, another little telltale sign.
No, so you see the stuff that I just don't. I don't think that hard into it.
So I said the fans are into this one. Zigzag for the near fall. We saw Ziggler hit a Rough Rider. I said, and Holly gets excited.
I put Zack Ryder's move. Made me very happy.
Rough Rider. I just thought the name of it alone with Dolph would get you excited enough. But
but it did little tribute to
Matt Cardona. Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah. Maurice with the mace, but Ziggler. This is it where Ziggler landed near the ropes after the skull crushing finale.
Yeah.
You kind of expect it to be, and at least her input in the match didn't really exceed that. It was just a little frustration.
It was enough. And then the other people came in.
The other people, right?
Before
just before that,
yes.
I put here, and they mentioned it was actually Eddie Guerrero's birthday. It would have been his 49th birthday. And I said there was shades of Eddie Guerrero in this match where Ziggler had basically loosened his boot, so Miz pulled it off, and that was a famous Eddie move from a WrestleMania. I think it was WrestleMania 20 when he was going up against Angle, and he's like his ankle swollen. He's trying to relieve the pressure, and the commentators are selling it. He's undoing his boot. Angle goes to do the ankle lock
so he can
on him.
slip his foot out.
He rolls forward. Angle goes, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Runs at him. Small package. Eddie retains.
Right.
So that for me was a nice little touch.
That's what that was, because I put on here. I remember his boot coming off.
Okay.
For a completely different reason, but I just remember in my head thinking, but that can't just come off. There must be a reason, and I've obviously missed it, which explains.
It's kind of like a nice little homage.
Made sense.
And then we see the Spirit Squad, or two members of the Spirit Squad.
Yeah.
Having said that, before I saw Kenny Dykstra, the one with the white band around his house, who looked like a meth head, if we're being honest.
Okay.
He looked gaunt.
Yeah. I don't really remember them from before. I remember. Was it Dolph? Dolph was in them.
Nikki, yeah.
I remember. Nikki! Yeah, I remember him being in the Spirit Squad. That's it.
He's the only one that really amounted to anything in the company after that. But yeah, Kenny Dykstra, who was the one with the sweatband on, they were quite keen on him as well. Didn't work out for whatever reason. I want to say he went to. I don't know if he went into real MMA fighting or anything. I feel like there's a story about that. But when I saw him on the screen, because he looks so drawn in, like when a fighter does a weight cut and they take all the moisture out their body and they look like a husk.
So dehydrated.
That is what he looked like to me. But I didn't see him yet. The first one I saw was the bald guy, whose name eludes me, so apologies for that. I thought that was Finlay.
I actually did think too, though.
The green little get-up, the unitard, as you would say. I thought, what the fuck's Finlay getting involved in this?
Oh my god, honestly, I wish I'd written that down, because now you say that, I remember watching going, this makes no sense. Oh, it's not. Right, okay.
And it just wasn't needed.
No.
Why are they getting involved? And why would they be helping The Miz? I'm sure storyline-wise,
that's what
The Miz...
didn't understand.
I think The Miz kind of paid them a bit of money or something. There was...
Yeah, probably. I just don't
They
remember.
put loose threads together for it.
The only thing I did like was, as soon as I knew they came out, I knew there was going to be a, "You're out of here," and I thought, brilliant. Now we'll actually see a bit of something with just the two of them.
One of the things that struck me about Kenny, because I saw it the second time he came onto, or he moved around to the far side where the commentators were on the apron, and I said, "Is it Kenny Dykstra, or is he about to shoot the Stan Eminem music video?" God.
The lookalike one.
Yeah. Little bit for me on
you.
that one. And then we see, I put here, Ziggler wins as expected with a super kick despite interference. I said a very fun match.
Yep. I put that he deserved the win. By far, was very entertaining. I'll be honest, that match was the highlight for me so far.
I don't have an issue with it. That for me is the second best match.
Which is why I wasn't annoyed that other one was first for me.
Okay, but this one wasn't last either.
For me, this was like an M, but with no end, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
No, it's a W. There we go. That's better. So you start high, then you go low, then you go high, then you go low, then you go high.
That's basically what you've touched upon there, is quite a standard formula for wrestling booking. They start strong. They always make sure they have lulls, because if you stay strong the entire time, the crowd burn themselves out. There's always going to be a dip, regardless. But even if you try to do it, the crowd will burn themselves out, and by the time the main event comes around, they'll be dead.
You're just going to get nothing.
So, which is why they usually put a match like the one we're about to discuss in the position that it was. So I understood, but I feel like, even though I'm not saying the other match was bad, I feel like you should have either put the Nikki Bella match or the tag team title match. No, actually the Swagger Corbin match I'd have put here.
Yeah.
Only because you know the crowd would sit on their hands.
And
not
this
because it was
just
the
made
quality.
No sense. We'd already heard earlier on, Becky Lynch can't wrestle for a non-wrestling reason.
Yeah, a hangnail as Alexa Bliss came out. But before that, sorry, jumping slightly ahead.
Sorry.
There's a moment, and I only put one thing on it. We see Randy Orton backstage.
Yes, we do.
Preparing for his upcoming match. And they do that lovely camera shot where he makes it look like he's looking at himself in the mirror. He's not. He's looking at the camera.
For sure.
And then the face distortion. Fuck off.
Yeah, no.
Fuck off.
Yeah. I
don't want to see that. Bray Wyatt, you can be a spooky fucker all he wants.
We know that's not. We know that's not real.
I don't want to see that bollocks.
No. Do you know what I'd rather see him just stretching, and I don't mean that in a well, yeah, I would like to see that. But do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather see him prepping for his match rather than...
Or just like walking, getting himself psyched up, something.
Or doing something,
which
rather
I guess
than
he was.
doing the whole, looking into
The
a mirror.
paranormal.
Nah, like, it's not also... we know my feelings on Randy Orton. It just doesn't work for him, for me. Just be you. Like,
okay.
I don't like it.
I might have some controversial takes on
fair
that
play.
match later, but that I didn't care for. Had they left it without the face distortion, it wouldn't have been great, but I'd have accepted it.
Yeah.
But the face distortion just
it was
completely
pointless.
annoyed me. And now we move on to the match that we were just touching upon. So Alexa Bliss comes out, supposed to have a match for the SmackDown Women's title against Becky Lynch, which would probably have been quite a fun match. She comes out saying that Becky, for non-wrestling related reasons, is out of the match, making a big fuss of it, saying that she's scared of her. But fine, I get it. And then she's interrupted by Naomi. Okay. Right. First thing I want to cover off, for as much as I like both the gear that they were wearing, what the fuck was that lipstick on
good.
Alexa?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because
it was awful.
Have you seen the Friends episode where...
Ichiban lipstick for men?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That is what I literally said. Not a fan of the lip colour. Is she advertising Ichiban?
Brilliant reference. I didn't like the eye makeup either. I thought that was a little bit too exciting. And
when I saw her, I did think, I don't think... Because let's not hide the fact, you are a very big Alexa Bliss fan.
she's a very handsome woman.
She is. Not knocking it. She really is.
And I preferred her before the enhancements.
But this look didn't...
No,
hit.
the hair's fine, the gear's fine,
gear's
but
fine.
the makeup
was a bit weird.
She's still very good at being... She's very good at being both a heel and a face.
She is.
To give her credit. And so when Naomi comes out, a fun little fact about Naomi, and it's more of a personal one, I guess, when I went and saw SmackDown Live as a Christmas present from my wife, I said my current wife there, my wife, make sure you say it like that, one of the biggest reactions that she gave about enjoying something was Naomi's entrance.
Yeah.
Feel the glow.
Fair enough.
Like the tune got a kind of, I could see her bobbing along in her chair. She liked the dancing, liked the the theatrics of it. So that's kind of warmed me up a little bit to Naomi. What were your thoughts on the match? Because obviously it was thrown together.
It was a filler.
It was a filler.
It was just a filler, and for me it was very apparent it was a filler.
Yes, but it was. I mean, there was no getting away from it. And the whole setup for it is it has to be a filler because the match that was supposed to take place couldn't. Do you think if Becky Lynch had been cleared and the match would have taken place, do you think that's where it would have been on the card?
No.
Or do you think it would have been? Where do you think it would have fallen then?
Ooh, I think they'd have swapped him around.
The women's matches?
Yeah.
Probably right. Oh, but then following the WWE title match going straight into the women's title match.
Yeah, I just because
they might have restructured
because
the whole card.
Yeah, I just don't know. It just this match to me was my least favourite of all of them.
It was a bad match.
Yeah,
there
was no point in it either way, or looking at these women and going good wrestlers for me.
No, I agree,
because they didn't have the time. Not it's not necessarily their fault. I'm just saying it was a filler. It was literally 5 minutes long. Basically, it was very quickly. As soon as it started, it basically finished.
Yeah,
which was
probably for the best actually.
Yeah, which was fine. And it gave a reason for Bliss to be annoyed or whatever, and that story continued.
Yeah.
But she's good. Both of them are good.
Naomi's not as good.
Didn't have... I don't know, I just can't be bothered
I think
with
Naomi
it, I'll be
grew
honest.
into her abilities later on.
Yeah.
I think it was very apparent that they didn't have time to work on what they were going to do.
Yes, exactly.
Because there are a couple of real key missteps in that. Like that flying arsehole thing, the rear view, she calls it, doesn't it? That missed by a mile. Even the crowd audibly went,
and shouts of, we want Becky. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, to be honest.
Yeah.
And this was even for me before...
The man.
Yeah, before she was, really top up there. And you think, God, if you really are cheering for someone else, you're really not enjoying this. It was so dull. I had just eaten dinner, but I did get Freddo.
Yeah, you had to get Freddo. This was your Freddo moment.
This was the Freddo. This
is
what
it's going to be.
Yeah, that's fine, because there was plenty in the...
We've seen it in the jar. So I did try and make some notes. So the first one is I just put, talking about Alexa, I said I'd let her degrade me with a smile on my face.
Yeah, I know you would, yeah.
She's just so nice. Like, she just seems like a really nice person as well.
Yeah, and having seen what she's like outside of wrestling, it makes it better when she is a heel, because it just shows her skill.
Yeah,
if
exactly
you know what I mean.
Exactly that. And for me as well, it's not always just looks driven.
Absolutely.
I feel like I'd need to like the person as an individual, which is why, for as good looking as Nikki Bella is, I don't have the same visceral reaction as I do to Alexa. So for me, it's Alexa over the current crop. I did put awful lipstick on Bliss, but I'll probably just about overlook it.
I'm sure you'd let it go.
And then that's what I mentioned about my missus, how she feels about Naomi.
Yep.
So the split-legged moonsault from Naomi, this is one of those camera cuts. Missed by a mile.
Yep.
And they did it side on, so you see her just manage to get about a forearm onto Alexa in the match. There were very few notes worth taking down from the actual content of the match itself.
Mine are done, I'll be honest.
You're already done? Okay.
Because I just couldn't force any out, and I thought if I'm going to force them out, they're not natural.
That's fair.
I'd exuded all effort in this match, I'll be honest.
I think I made 8 notes, and most of it was on, what their gear was like. So, not in a creepy way.
If all else fails, comment on the gear.
Yeah, so for me, I put great gear on both women. It works.
Yeah, it does.
I said, we want Becky chant. Bliss responds, no, you don't. I laughed. Just you had to do something. Yeah. It was dying a death.
Yeah.
And then, so the ending. Not only was it the content of the match poor, the ending was abhorrent.
Oh yeah.
Like even the setup for Bliss to go in the armbar wasn't good.
Nope.
Then Naomi's roll up wasn't good. The 3 count wasn't good.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and I thought, I get it, because Bliss has kind of already just about cemented herself at the level to be considered a challenger.
Yeah.
Naomi hadn't.
No.
So this helped Naomi, but I just remember thinking, well, who's going to give a fuck when we see Becky and Bliss now?
Yeah.
I don't know what they did as the post.
No, I don't remember.
On SmackDown
I
after
don't know.
this.
I'm sure after this, wasn't there a TLC match? And that's when it was Bliss and Becky, and she put her through a table. But that was, I think, I could well be wrong, I'm sure we've watched this, where she didn't put her through a table. She fell. I'm sure it's that one where she falls off the apron, but it looks like Bliss is holding her.
Right.
And Becky falls through the table, but actually it's like...
It rings a bell.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember us watching it being like, hang on.
But we wouldn't have seen this live in 2016.
No, I think what we did, I think this was COVID. Do you remember when we watched a couple of shows in COVID and we watched them remotely? Good. I'm pretty sure that was one of them.
So what we did...
But we'll have to revisit it and double check.
100%. So what we did, and obviously we're very hard workers, and I'm not just saying that just in case anyone from work's listening.
Why I have to be? You are my boss.
Well, this is true. I don't like the connotations of that. Like I'm a harsh dictator. I think I'm all right as a boss, but in lockdown, you just needed something to break the monotony, because obviously you couldn't see people, you couldn't go into the office. Very isolated.
Hated it.
Yeah, I know. I don't mind the hybrid approach now, but I do like being able to go into the office and kind of change the scenery. So I thought we'd just, try and get a little of enjoyment out of the day. Obviously, we wouldn't do it for key moments, but if we were just cracking on with work, we'd pick a show, just have it on in the background and go through it. And it just kind of made it feel like you were kind of a bit closer to the people that you missed. Yeah. I look back, as much as lockdown was horrible, I look back on that kind of stuff quite fondly.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
It was good, actually.
I feel like it helped us kind of like improve our bond as well.
Oh, for sure.
Because I remember being so happy to go when we went out eventually and met up for lunch that time.
Yes.
I was buzzing, looking forward to that. It had been about a year since I'd seen you in person. But yeah, so I'm sure we have probably seen that at some point, because when you said that, it rings true, but I can't put my finger on the specifics.
I'm sure we'll come back to it.
I'm sure we will as well. Well, there's a lot of shows for us to cover out there, not just WWE.
I know.
So as well as WWE, I mean, I don't have necessarily access to all of them, but I can for when required. Yeah. But we've got like New Japan. That I'm interested to see how you take on New Japan, just because the quality of the matches are really good, but you have no knowledge or interest, I would say, in the characters. So
yeah.
But a lot of stuff out there. Like I said, we definitely have to cover at least the AEW show that we went to and the Progress show we went to at some point.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, a lot for us to cover, so I'm sure we will stumble upon that. Will we remember that we discussed it though?
I don't know.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not picking it as the next episode.
No, I shan't pick that as my next pick.
Yeah, because you need to get on that, don't you?
Yep.
Right, so we end that absolute shit show of a match.
Yes.
And we go to the main event. No, I'll call it the main event because it was the last match that went on.
I would happily call it the main event.
Apart from the women's match we just saw, if I had a Freddo, I'd have eaten it. I love Bray Wyatt. I think he's good.
Yeah.
There's something, unless I care about the specific match he's in, there's something about Randy Orton that disengages me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nothing to do with him as a person.
Oh, wow.
Just the way it comes across for me.
Okay.
He's got a very disengaging personality.
Ooh,
I've never once gone, yeah, Randy. I've never done that.
We are complete opposites in this.
I know,
I'm
but
immediately entranced.
Okay, right. Take away the good looks from him.
Take off.
Take off his clothes. No, take off your clothes. So take away his good looks.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he could just stand in the ring for.
That's what I mean.
Minutes, and I'd probably still be entranced.
It's difficult to say because obviously this isn't the reality of it. But if you take away his good looks, do you care about his matches? The quality of his matches?
Probably not.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's my point.
That's a fair point.
Because I don't have that. I'm not going, oh, he's a lovely.
No,
I'm aware he's a handsome boy, but
true.
And that isn't to say he hasn't been involved in good matches.
Yes.
But I can remember more Orton matches that have bored me than I found entertaining.
Okay.
The match with Angle at ECW is one of the matches I enjoyed him in. I enjoyed him in that. It worked, but I think that was as much as Angle being supremely on point than him doing anything specifically, but he didn't take away from it either, so I'm not discrediting him.
Okay.
But this match I went into, and that's when I got really annoyed about the positioning of the WWE title match.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was thinking, that was on first, what's going to be the last?
Do you feel like this should have been first? Or middle, like?
I'd have had it first.
Okay.
I don't think there's an issue with having it first, because I still think it would have got a good reaction, and I probably would have enjoyed it more if it was first.
Yeah, maybe. That's a fair point.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that disagree with me, but that was my takeaway from it.
I mean, people will 100% disagree with me because the peak for me was freaking Dolph Ziggler and Miz. So.
No, that was a good match. That was, for me, that was the second best match of the night.
Yeah.
And had the triple threat not been as good as it was, that would have been the best match of the night for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, there's just... And I don't know why it bothers me, but you have a thing about gear, and Randy also wearing pants, that doesn't bother me. Him wearing elbow pads bothers me. It looks odd. Because I'm so used to him just having the wrist tape on.
Yeah.
So seeing him in the elbow sleeves, I thought was a strange, a strange touch. But I guess we'll go into the nooks and crannies of the match itself, so to speak. So we start with the fireflies everywhere. It's always excellent to see that.
Yeah, it's nice.
So simple, but so effective.
It gave me, I don't know, it was really odd, obviously, to watch because he's no longer alive, obviously. But it was so odd to watch that and be like, oh. And then remember, obviously, what they did at, whether it was intentional or not, what they did at AEW with House of Black.
Yeah,
when
that
came
was intentional.
And all the lights again, and you just think, oh, it's so simple.
Yeah, I mean, as well as that AEW show, we had the guy, and this obviously wasn't planned.
Full
cosplayed,
full gear
as the Fiend.
Yeah,
and the whole side of the stadium. So this wasn't caught in the show itself, but the whole stadium was singing. He's got the whole world in his hands,
that was
and I
amazing.
thought it was lovely. And I got kind of goosebumps thinking about it because this was right after
he just died. I think
it was like the week of or the week before. Yeah. But again, nice little visual touch.
Yes.
And I just put here, he was such a great character. I said easily believable.
For sure.
As a psycho as well.
Yes.
It just works. It works.
He plays it well where Ambrose's character didn't.
I know they're not playing the same type of thing, but I don't believe Ambrose is crazy. Moxley's crazy, fine.
Yes.
Ambrose crazy, no.
Yes.
Bray Wyatt, always.
Yeah.
Always. It works. It's
it does
so
work,
good.
For sure.
It's so good. But one of the comments I put here is I said it doesn't feel like a main event, and again the crowd I thought were crap in this.
Yeah.
I thought they didn't have the energy levels for it, and I think that probably not tainted, but didn't certainly help my perspective on how the match was unfolding. I'll be honest, it was Sacramento, wasn't it, this? I thought California wrestling crowds would be a little bit better than this. I'm sure there are many instances where they are, but that was one of my big takeaways from this event, that it was not a good crowd.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the content of the match itself, I've got a few notes as to what I thought, but this, you've seen the notes that I've done for these shows. You've seen they're like all been 4 pages A4. That's what I put on the main event. Given some of the length. So I'm pointing here, I've got about 9 lines.
My gosh, I think even mine is longer than that.
Again, because you're more invested in the Randy Orton side of things. But,
I'll
cover...
I'm pretty sure yours doesn't at any point say, Coy's got a cracking pair of beefy thighs.
He has got a pair of lovely beefy thighs. He's got
good legs.
He does. Puts me to shame, because that's one of the features of myself that I actually quite like, and they see Randy Orton just no fucks given, flexing like
that's
that.
That's the job I'd like. To be oiling
his thighs.
Oh, yeah.
See, is that all right? I mean, it's fine, because who cares? We can say what we like. It's our podcast. But like, if I said, "Oh, I'd love to oil,"
I would think it's perfectly fine.
Well, yes,
because you're just saying you'd like to do it. You're not.
But then when does it verge on the Me Tooing type stuff and the Jerry the King Lawler, which I've been slating myself?
I don't know, but
because I'm aware.
I think you can say it's fine. You're
Well,
not actually actively going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to... Well, yeah, let's keep that story going as well. But no, I'm not, obviously.
No.
But you do worry about those kind of things these days.
Yeah,
like
sure.
the whole... Just to get a little bit, again, off topic on the... Because I said Me Too now.
Mm.
It's all right, I'm not going to say anything controversial.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me worried as a man for how...
Yeah.
The issue... And I'm not saying this should factor in. I'm not the prettiest man. But I feel like if you are a better looking man, there's more leniency granted to you in the way that you converse with people, and things are taken differently depending on one's physical appearance.
Right.
So I feel like if, let's say, a random woman is out,
Yeah.
I'm out on a night out in this situation,
Yeah.
I'm not married, Randy Orton's not married, we both go up to the woman and say the same comments.
Yeah.
I know my version of it will be taken worse, even if it's word for word the same as what Randy Orton said.
Right.
And
I can see your point of view. I just personally don't agree.
Fine.
But that's just obviously I am one.
But you also
woman.
know me.
Like, yeah, I feel like we say things in banter to each other which are so far past the line.
Yeah, true.
Which is funny because we both know where our lines are.
Yeah.
However, you know, having been single for a very long time, putting myself out there on dating sites and all that, you get a lot of messages that are not because you don't get them because of what you look like. You just get them because people are bored. But some of the messages that I've received, and I'm sure any other guy probably, is in the same position, and you read them, you think, God, they're beautiful, and then they'll send you an unsolicited picture. They'll send you messages, and you're like, no matter how attractive you are, no, absolutely not.
Well, that's why, to get, again, just to delve into the online, fortunately, it's not something I ever did.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's something, God forbid, I'm ever single myself again. I couldn't do it because it's too...
Oh, it's horrible. It's
superficial and like
superficial world to be in.
And this kind of touches on the point I made earlier about I need to like the person to get that kind of emotionally involved in it.
Yep.
And to be very unbloke, like I've never been someone to go, all right, I'm looking for a one night stand. This kind of thing. I'm not programmed that way, which is rare. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. People can do whatever they want to. No. But for me, that's not it. And that, like I said, I'm aware of my limitations. Right. So I don't want to go on something where I'm selling what I think is the least not valuable, but the least noteworthy part of myself, which is...
I know what you're saying, because I will always try and lead with funny. For me,
that is my go-to.
I will try and, if I meet someone I think, oh, I quite like them, I will try and lead with funny. I'm not saying I think I'm fucking hilarious.
I think funny.
But I think funny looking.
Not at all. Just to be clear, she's good looking. She's just very modest.
But I think of all of the characteristics that I have, I will go with funny. But my funny is blunt banter. Like sometimes, so people will either get it and think it's funny, or people will either think I am fucking rude.
Well, I was going to say, because like I said, I know you fairly well. Yeah. I can tell sometimes when I'm making comments that not make you feel uncomfortable, because that sounds bad, but when I'm pushing it close to that line, and you have this...
You'll tell by a response that comes back how close to the line you are.
You'll say this holly wall comes up, or if I've nailed something a bit too well, and you go, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do that, yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
A few comments I've made specifically in the office.
Yeah, because I literally have nothing, when it gets a bit too close to the comfort, I have nothing to come back from.
Yeah, but it's not a mocking thing. It's like me... it's a different...
That's like a little warning, a little pelican warning sign for me.
Be careful the next thing you say.
Getting very close here, and I will... Yeah.
I think I've ever crossed it intentionally.
No, you haven't, no.
Well.
But that is a little warning sign.
Yeah,
so if anyone hears that, retreat, because otherwise the next one you'll get will be me going from naught to pitbull very quickly.
Yes.
But no, I do understand.
I've seen it a little bit, although you didn't fully let it out, but I saw you restraining it again at the Progress show.
Oh, yeah, I get very easily annoyed with
I genuinely thought,
quickly.
I'm going to get in a fight here.
Oh no!
No, but not like from your intention.
Fully take care of myself in that situation.
Yeah, you'd have absolutely wiped your ass with him.
Fucking would, you're right.
But
I'd have thrown him in that ring.
But you have to realise that as the bloke, I can't just watch that unfold.
True.
So I remember I was actually thinking, oh god, I might have to get in a fight here. We won't be allowed back at a Progress show. But unfortunately, nothing came of it, so there's no issue. This
story, just FYI, doesn't bode well for one person who might actually listen to this and then come back to work and go, see, I told you you're confrontational.
I don't think they're going to listen to it. I think they listen to
this will be a test to see if they do, though.
Well, we because
they'll know who they are.
Of course, they'll know who they are.
And just to put it, I'm not confrontational. Only when needs to be, I think.
Yeah, I think, if we're going
I just go from naught to pitbull very quickly.
Like psychological analysis of what you like, you throw up a lot of defence mechanisms.
Which, for sure.
Even I struggle to get past some of them, but Yeah, it's especially because I feel like sometimes when you get close to the Holly core, which I feel like I'm fairly close to, I can still see that wall go up periodically, and I go, why is she doing this still? Like, fucking put it down, put it down. But yeah, that's a real good segue. That one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that individual does listen to this and bring that up.
Yep.
So again, right, back to the core of the match.
Rubbing down.
Back to rubbing down Randy Orton's thighs.
Yes.
But actually, no, sorry. On the point that we just left, the key thing of what I was trying to get away there was, and I mentioned this to some of my friends the other day.
Yeah.
There was a night where, it must have been about 6-7 years ago, I was out drinking and I was walking home.
Okay.
And I heard a woman scream.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard this story. You probably have, to be fair. Maybe. When I get to the end of it, you probably have. And I went, someone's in trouble. I ran towards the scream. Turns out it was a fox that had just been absolutely ploughed. But now I'm thinking, what would I do in that situation? Because the instinct is still help the person.
Yeah, I know.
But then if I run
what
there,
happens,
exactly, then am I kind of being... I've genuinely seen people, and this is really quite sad for me, because I think I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
I don't think, basically, if you look at me, I don't think you necessarily know that right away. But I've seen someone look at me, clearly be concerned about... It's probably the beard, to be fair. I'm not small.
Across the road.
And I swear to God, they crossed the road.
Yeah.
And I died a little inside.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know... I didn't do anything in the end.
Yeah.
But I wanted to react one of two ways and go, oh...
You want to kind of openly defend yourself,
I'm not...
But then that's what every person says. I'm a nice guy.
The alternative version of what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, oh, fuck you then.
Yeah.
Like, well, you don't know me.
I do know what you mean. But having been very naive... in the past maybe, I'm a head downer. Like, even if I at night was on my own and was walking home, if I saw someone walking towards me that looks dodgy as fuck, I'm not crossing the road. Mainly probably a small part of stubbornness, but also it's probably oblivious, naive, but also to me, if I'm crossing that road, I'm making it apparent to this person that I think exactly what you're saying. They look a certain way, and if they are mentally that way, well, prime.
You've taken
I've literally waved a white flag and gone, chase me.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm going to walk past you, I'm showing that I'm not bothered by you.
Yeah, no, that's probably the best way of doing it.
So I don't know, but
yeah, and I just remember making me think, like, it made me feel bad about something that I'm not.
Yeah, no, I do get that.
That's just, that was kind of the point I was trying to make. But anyway, that's again a little window into our personalities there.
Into our little brains.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, doesn't feel like a main event.
Nope.
The running back senton that Bray Wyatt uses looks good because he's a big lad. He throws himself well. It looks like it would hurt.
Yes.
There must have been about 14 of them in this match. There was too many of them.
This is the peak. This is what they do, isn't it? It's like John Cena's running elbow jump thing dive. I hate that because when he does it, he does 20 of them.
Yep.
The same as this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to see all of them.
They weren't consecutive. No. I think only one of them landed because he missed one on the steel steps on the outside.
Yes.
He missed one from the second rope. It was good because I was surprised that even though I know he's not unathletic, that he was able to get himself in such a position where he landed on that. Because I was looking at it going, I don't know if I'd back myself to land as he did on that. I feel like I'd overthink it, trip over it, and like smash my teeth on the side.
Half on it, half off, probably snap my spine.
Well, I mean, that'd be a pretty bad landing from that position. But yeah, well, I guess again we're having the issues that you've had in the past. I kind of understand. I did say that it was a shit DDT on the apron.
Yes.
I thought it looked pretty poor. We saw the key moments in the match, like Randy Orton doing the DDT from the middle rope as standard. Yeah. Didn't see him do that backbreaker that he does where he arches his own back, falls to his knees and drapes their back over it. I don't remember seeing that, at least in the match, which is usually one of his cornerstones. And again, this is the point which I touched upon. I said Randy Orton is boring, maybe, but I don't have a Freddo. And I wanted a Freddo, and I thought I wanted to, again, the instinct is, whenever it's wrestling related, my instinct is message Holly, discuss it.
Yeah, it's so hard to actually not text and be like, oh, this
because we haven't watched one for a while.
No, we haven't.
I guess, I mean, during the break we can watch a bit of something.
Yeah, we're going to,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, actually, but not that I'm not enjoying this too far.
No, I get what you mean.
It's been a good laugh, but I'll be honest, that is pretty much as far as it goes. So we got the distraction from Luke Harper at the end.
Right.
Sister Abigail, Bray wins. Okay. I said it made me sad seeing Luke Harper as well, old Brody Lee.
So, for me though, obviously I've got notes from before that.
Feel free to jump in then. Cover it off.
Right, so before I get to the end bit, Bray Wyatt, big guy, really freaking nimble.
He is.
Like, you wouldn't expect it. Yes, and I really like that. It's like AJ Styles. Obviously not the same.
I know what you mean, yeah.
They just don't look like they could do or have the speed and agility of the things he could do. Yeah. And I just really liked that.
Well, back before when he was Husky Harris, before he was Bray Wyatt, one of his things that he would say is, I'm an army tank with a Ferrari engine.
Very nice.
And I think it works.
It does work.
Obviously, you can't use that as the Bray Wyatt gimmick, but it's accurate. It's an accurate depiction. And
the other bit is, see, I liked it did slow down the match somewhat, but so Orton was thrown over the announce table.
Yeah, and
then Bray comes out, just stands there and looks at him. And I think,
laughing,
that works for me. Like, it was a little lull.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously the match wasn't, to me, as I suppose it could have been a lot better, but it was a character thing. And I thought, that's better than him going around there trying to grab him, get him back. Like, just stand there and watch him. It makes... It's that uneasy feeling, which I quite liked.
On certain characters, so like that
only
reverse...
for Bray and stuff,
What would you call that reverse crab thing that he does from the corner? I don't think
I
thought there's a technical term.
I can't, because he's holding on to...
I say reverse crab upside down.
Yeah, it's like a back bend, isn't it?
Yeah, like, again, impressive. I try. I mean, I'm sure you can do that.
Yeah, but...
I don't know if I can do that. I tried. I got myself part way up and then just dropped myself on my head.
Yeah, he's, again, was very flexible.
Yeah.
But again, it's that character thing, because if everyone's doing that, it wouldn't work for 99.9% of people there, but for him, it does work. What else did I say? There's one move I wrote down here.
Okay.
Now I can't even remember what it was, I definitely will pronounce this wrong, so I spelt it phonetically.
Okay.
Uranagi?
Uranagi.
Yeah. I said, regardless if Orton's helping with it or not, with a little bit of a jump, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like Orton's doing any work.
No,
there.
I think it helps with the way that Bray Wyatt looks like he's actually throwing him down to the canvas. He's not picking him up, letting him go, and then you fall down as you will.
But I quite liked that so much so that I paused so I could actually write it down so I knew what it was.
How did you spell it?
Your G.
No, it begins with a U, but that's fine. No, that's good.
When Luke Harper appeared, well, commentators were all saying Luke Harper, and I was like, who the fuck is Luke Harper? That's Brody Lee. Like, I don't understand. I got so confused. Yes, I got so confused, and then I went, and then the point for me was those two at the very end.
Yeah.
When Bray's kneeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, that people have definitely made that into like
a GIF
memorial like pictures for sure. But it was
they're
chilling.
Both so talented.
Yeah,
so talented. So Brody Lee is, well, even the name to a certain point is based off a worker who was prevalent in the 70s and 80s called Bruiser Brody.
Okay.
So you won't have heard of him, but he was a legitimate tough guy, had an American football background. I think it was a collegiate level. I don't think he was necessarily ever in the pros.
Yeah.
He was known as a wild man. He would have wild brawls with people. Basically like somewhere between a Bray Wyatt and a Dean Ambrose type crazy character, and he absolutely nailed it. Phenomenal talent. Sad demise of this guy. He was working in Puerto Rico. He had fallings out with some of the guys that were there and was stabbed in the locker room backstage.
Jesus Christ.
In the showers, bled out, and they think that there was a lot of issues in terms of how quick the emergency services got to him, that they could have saved his life had they got there earlier, but they think how quickly were they contacted.
Oh my God.
Horrible thing. There's a documentary on him that I've seen that's really quite good as well. But yeah, a lot of what Luke Harper did as his Brody Lee character, it kind of stemmed from that, because he had that kind of wild man look. So before he was in WWE, a lot of the same mannerisms were present with what he did in the Independents. The Brody Lee character in AEW was slightly more normalised, even though effectively he was a cult leader of the Dark Order. But it was just a lot of serendipity there for me with like how it's similar to Bray. They were together. It's very nice, and it was sad seeing the two of them together, because they were both so talented, so young as well, relatively speaking. Certainly on Bray Wyatt.
Who were the other two? Were Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, right?
Yeah.
There was the four of them in that. Yeah. When they were in WWE as the
so it was always. So yeah, back in NXT,
Bray was always the leader, wasn't he?
Bray was always the leader. So you first got to see Bray, and then pretty shortly thereafter, when he appeared, he was with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan.
And they had didn't they have the animal masks on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then Braun Strowman. So that was the entirety within NXT. Okay. Braun Strowman made his first appearance on, I think it was Raw, with a black sheep mask, and they beat up Roman Reigns, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
So that was his first introduction to the group, but originally it was just the three of them.
Oh, okay.
And the real sad point is, I don't know if they ever would have done a reveal on it, but who was going to be Sister Abigail? Because there was talk about the time when he was linked with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Could be her. I didn't know who I wanted it to be, but I felt like it needed to be someone completely different, because you didn't want to look at them and think of the character they were playing before.
True.
But obviously it's something that we'll never know.
And also you've lost Bray Wyatt, which is the bigger point, but obviously now what happens with Bo Dallas? Because he was Uncle Howdy, right?
Yeah.
Well, pretty much was, and you think, what happens there?
I didn't know what they were going to do, because they can't let him go.
No, absolutely not. No,
even if you have nothing for him.
But now what happens to him? But
at the same time, you have to do something with him.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were going to do not a Bray Wyatt character, but something that paid homage. To him. And I don't know how that would be received. It could be very good, it could be very bad.
Because some people would just take that as being a copy rather than a tribute, effectively.
And you treat it as like what they did with Ray and the Eddie exploitation. You're only doing this with Ray because Eddie died. If Eddie didn't die, Ray doesn't get to where he does.
I do hope they do something with him, but I don't know how they position it. Even if it's actually just keeping him as a
backstage,
not a coach. Do you know what I mean? Like training partner, whatever. Just you've got to look after that guy.
I think, and that's the thing. What I think will ultimately happen is he'll be kept on payroll for a few years, and then he'll go then, because enough time will have passed. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they do something with him, but I don't know what they could do that would land well.
No,
because I hated the Bo Leave character and stuff like that. Wasn't good.
No.
But again, they must have seen promise in him at some point, because he was a former NXT champion.
Yeah, exactly.
In the early days, but yeah, very, very sad. But
yeah,
what were your overall takeaways from the show?
I enjoyed it. I know there were some troughs, and there were probably more troughs than peaks. But for me, the peaks just made it a good match for me. A good program for me. I don't know. It's not a mid card. It's definitely probably about 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
But if the Dolph match hadn't have been in there, it would have been a 5.
So you would have put it less than the ECW one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love obviously Nikki Bella as well, but I've seen her obviously do better matches as well.
Yeah.
But just the whole of this one was...
I'd have put it about 6.5 if I had to put a number on it.
Yeah.
Because for as good as a couple of the matches were on it, I thought it just tapered off a lot towards the end. And again, one of the takeaways for me is that crowd just didn't help the atmosphere at all.
I genuinely think if the crowd had been better, the whole match, the whole card, the whole thing would have been a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean...
especially the last match.
Well, I guess we'll find out again if we look at a card where the match is really good and the crowd sit on their hands. If we kind of go away with the same takeaways from it, it'd be interesting. But yeah, I summarised and just put decent show.
It was all right.
Well, anything spectacular. I wasn't overly bored watching it or anything.
No.
But there was no, oh my God, moments in it for me.
So
yeah, I guess that kind of covers this show off.
Yeah.
But we're going to go to the socials in a second to let people know. We've got another show coming up which we will put a teaser out for on said socials.
Yes, we will.
And do you care to divulge that information with the listeners?
Yes, I do. So our email address is wintwicepod@gmail.com. Please send Scott an email. Give him something to do. Go on.
Don't feel like you have to. I mean, I'll obviously do something with it. Could read them out on the show.
I mean, I tell you what, a suggestion of a match would be nice.
Suggestion of a show, yeah. And like I said, if it's good content, I'll happily read it out on the show.
Yep, lovely. We have our Instagram page, which is also WinTwicePod. There'll be some more posts on there at the minute, but
Life
at the minute,
it
really does. But also, it's just teasers of what we're reviewing, what we have reviewed, links to our podcast.
So got the YouTube channel as well.
We
like
do
I said,
have
where
the YouTube channel.
The whole shows are getting loaded up there by one of my mates, and he's putting clips up there from the shows as well, which are quite entertaining.
I don't think I'm coming across very well in these shorts, by the way.
I don't think I'm coming across well in any of it, but it's a good laugh.
I just come across like some absolute fiend of male wrestlers in most of them. But I did like the Freddo was featured. That
the Freddo was essential.
I mean, there is going to be a Freddo match in every single card we watch.
I think that's vital. I mean, would it even be a podcast without it at this point?
No, not when you've seen the stash of the amount I've got to get through. So no.
Well, again, that was put on social media. But yeah, basically,
yes.
Reach out, give us some love, subscribe, like whatever the situation dictates, depending on the platform. But yeah,
down with the kids of you.
Down with the kids. Yeah, I'm know all the lingo and
yes.
the stuff that goes along with it, the accoutrement. But yeah, I think that brings this one to a nice end.
I think it does. Let's go watch some Crown Jewel.
Oh yeah, well that timestamps exactly when we're watching it and recording. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.